welcome to the to InfoWars. Today we will be discussing conspiracy theories that we believe. And in the off left, we have Alcius the Undefeated returning from episode 3.
Hi, I'm back.
In lib left, we have Anderville coming on for his third time.
Hey.
As our centrist, we have Breadmaker coming back on from the last episode. And in off right, we have another return from the last episode, Thomas 22110.
Howdy.
And I am your lib right, liquid narrator. So, who wants to start with their conspiracy theories?
Birds aren't real.
No, they're not. They're really not. See, it's the
I
power
use
lines
that
are charging them.
I mean, it's a known fact at this point.
Yeah, the power lines charged them.
Oh hey, homie's
and-
back.
All right, and
connection.
as well as our other centrist, we have homosexual.
Oh, hello. I guess we started.
Yeah, we literally just
Yes.
started. We were just
We just started. You didn't miss anything.
yeah, we are discussing how birds aren't real.
Ah, yes, of course.
Where do these
We all
books
know
I mean,
you
why
aren't.
the fuck do they stand in the power lines?
Exactly,
they're
it's
clearly
charging
charging.
them. It's charging them. It's like those docks you get for like PlayStation controllers, where you put them on and it just charges them. That's exactly what it is. See, they have technology from like 50 years ahead that they haven't released to the public yet, and that's what these birds are. So they make drones to try and make them look like, oh, we can only do this much, so we release these shitty drones, which we will then bomb Afghanistani children with. While at the same time, they have these fucking metal birds out there, and they've had these for ages, that are just watching you. That's what the CIA does with them. It's the it's the
Come on, man.
It's the CIA.
Come on, man. Okay,
Oh,
I can
shit.
accept
Here we
it's the
go.
I
CIA.
stopped
Yeah.
listening for two
Dude.
fucking
So
seconds
CIA
and everyone's
is lying.
laughing. What did I miss?
It took 30 seconds.
Spotify.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I couldn't help myself.
Did you seriously just drop a joke in?
I literally just said it's the.
Ugh.
Oh, but it was too tempted. Tax just bleep all this out. We'll just have this like good like 30 seconds of just white noise because all the either that or it's just us laughing and just occasional bleeps. Greatest opening to an episode yet.
Sometimes I have trouble finding out who's the author right here.
Yeah. I mean, I describe most of my politics as conservative libertarian, so it's like, I mean, some people have thought I'm off right.
I just
Nah.
found an old ass book of my town. Alright, I'm gonna go through these, see if I can spot any differences.
Nah, it's the exact same. It never changes.
Okay, so conspiracy theory. The things we are here for.
Yeah. So, what's it? Is there any that you think we'd all agree on to begin with? Then
Well,
Did
I don't know, we could dive head first into the 9/11 conspiracies.
I have some of those about that. I think it was an inside job, but also just the
Yeah,
really
it's
obvious
decent.
one.
I
The really obvious one is you know the plane that apparently the people got control over that crashed apparently. That was shot down. There's no way that was not shot down. If you look into the wreckage, it indicates that it was shot with a missile. It didn't crash. Because the thing is, right when you're when a plane crashes like straight down to the ground, you expect the wreckage to be over a small amount of area of where it hits. However, if you look into the wreckage of that plane, the
That
engine.
bitch is blowing apart.
Oh yeah, it goes for miles. There's like parts of the engine that are way further back than the rest of the plane,
okay.
which indicates that either something hit it and broke off the engine, which did it, or it was shot because we know that there were it was F-16s if I remember correctly who were trailing it and had the order to shoot it down, and as well, just the time frame of how close they were to the plane just doesn't add up.
I mean, it would make sense to shoot a terrorist plane.
Oh yeah. I'm saying
I
it
mean,
makes
it's
complete
logical.
sense, but the fact that they lied about it. But yeah, that is 100% true. If you want to get on the stuff about the whole thing being an inside job, I'm not gonna say jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams. I know that one's a joke at this point. Though I do know some Yanks who get really angry when I say that. Ironically, I don't know if the Yanks here are gonna get pissed off if I start talking about how 9/11 was
Oh,
an
I don't
inside
give
joke.
two fucks. I wish my
Okay.
country would die.
Okay, good. Because like I know a guy who I play video games occasionally, and one of the guys in the call was like talking about plane facts for some reason. It was like the one from Fight Club or whatever, and I just said, "You want to hear another plane fact? Jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams." And the Yankee got so angry really quickly, saying how just because I'm not American, I shouldn't care about 9/11, which is up for debate, but.
Yeah.
I mean, worldwide
debatable.
freedom went down because of that event. But, I mean, like the British government spies on American citizens, and the American government spies on British citizens, because it's legal to do
No
in
shit.
both. Oh yeah, exactly, and that's because of 9/11. Like without a doubt, it was just an excuse to get more surveillance through. Because I mean, you look into the Patriot Act, for example, which was wrote by Joe Biden. Yeah, all these countries are working together to surveil the public, and that is because of 9/11. It was another event like many from history where they create a tragedy so they can push through more tyranny. Think of you take the Great Depression, for example. I think that was literally caused by the U.S. government, so they can put in more regulation on the market, so they can control it more. And there was a certain virus. I'm not going to say which one. We know which one.
Spotify.
A random virus.
A random virus that I'm sure no one's ever heard of. Wink, wink.
No.
Named after a beer. Wink, wink. That was also to get through to remove bodily autonomy and to tell people when they can and can't leave their homes. But I don't know which virus I could be talking about. Could all take a guess at home, but you probably won't know. Quite.
How super herpes.
What the fuck is that? Was that your? What the fuck? What? I can
What
hear kids
happened?
screaming. I can hear kids screaming. What the fuck? Whose mic is that? I'm sorry. What the fuck is going on?
Don't worry about it.
Is that your
I'm
house?
not hearing.
Who's on the island?
I don't know what the fuck's going on. I can hear kids screaming, and I can't tell if that's from outside or if that's someone's mic.
What's going on? Don't worry about it.
Okay, good. That genuinely fucking scared me. What the fuck?
It seems
Finish
to be
the
coming from
chance of
inside your
streaming.
computer.
Can you bring Epstein to the mic?
Yeah,
Is he there?
I was genuinely fucking terrified for a second because I thought like it sounded like some kid was getting murdered outside my house, and like I was taking my headset off and there was nothing, and I was genuinely fucking pissing myself. That's gonna sound great.
Though, I do want to take a
You
moment.
definitely
here.
don't sound like a schizo.
Yeah, reveal.
Well, he is part of us. He might as well be one.
Yeah, I mean you do have to be really autistic to come on this. I mean that's an agreed upon fact at this point.
I'm just tired.
Everyone is. I literally went to
Though,
bed at 5. Go ahead, Andrew. Sorry.
It's all right. I just want to take a moment to sort of note. I'm probably not going to be introducing too many conspiracy theories here, but that's because, to me at least, I think that there's a lot of history that gets overlooked, but I don't think it's because there is a very smart group of very capable people in the government that managed to, pull one over on people. I think it's oftentimes because some people did some dumb shit, and then they realized that it was dumb shit, and they tried to cover it up later, and then everybody forgot about it. And so I think that's a common thread in a lot of things that happened over time. And so, a lot of people say, for instance, that 9/11 was done by the government in order to, enact these various policies that allowed them to, reap more authoritarian power over the country in order to fulfill their aims. And I think that and also for instance, the evidence.
Can't say it. We've
Oh,
got to say it.
Don't. A
Apologies.
random virus.
The random
Please.
A
virus.
random virus.
Andrew just really
well,
likes Corona beer. Andrew likes Corona beer. That's what.
yeah. Either way,
so-
for the various different things that are used to centralize authoritarian power, I think that oftentimes it is not a case of there being bad actors that deliberately caused the issue to take place so they could use it, but rather when the issue propped up, opportunists used it in order to propel their own agendas. Like, for instance, I honestly do not think that the people that got the information briefs about the various Al Qaeda people coming in and learning flight plans because they wanted to crash planes into buildings and then didn't act on it were doing so with the deliberate idea that among all of the briefings they were getting, these ones would allow them to then enact some sort of weird authoritarian, like, extra level of war on terror to reap their own power. I think that they just overlooked that information because they were dumb.
I mean, the feds
But
look
then
the feds overlook information on that stuff all the time. So like, there's been quite a few schmutins, shall we say, that the feds have known like were gonna happen and they didn't. So that happened with the fairly recent one, though I won't get into that. But if we need a more older one, you
But
take.
yeah, I agree on this one. Most is due to human stupidity.
But I was just gonna say it was Nicholas Cruz was one. It was Parkland, if I remember correctly. It was a schmuter, shall we say. The feds were well aware of him and they just did nothing about it. And there's countless examples of that happening. So if it's down to the ones
Yeah,
bringing
like,
measures for that, or if it's incompetence.
The thing that happened in France like 2 years ago, I think.
What, the bombings or?
No, it's a
There-
French teacher that got
the
decapitated.
beheading. Yeah, the
Yeah.
beheading. Oh Christ! Can't believe I forgot about that. That really happened
And
here, actually.
There was proof, but the cops did nothing because they are incompetent in most matter and stupid.
I would have a different interpretation of why they did nothing as a Brit, but if we go into this, that might also have to get censored out. But if you look in how the British police handle the kinds of people who did that beheading, it seems they have a bias
Oh, yeah,
towards
but
not
that's
handling
British.
crimes. Oh, I know, but
That's the UK.
yeah, that's the UK. But I'm saying, you notice how it's that group of people who rarely have things done about them in most European countries.
Mm.
I just noticed a little bit of a pattern there. Is all I'm saying. I'm not saying that's what the French do
Well,
it like that. I don't know enough
a
about
bit
France.
more informed on France.
Oh yeah, of
and,
course. I'm sure you are.
I know I
I'm-
recognize that accent from somewhere.
Well, not. I'm Belgian. I'm not French.
You sound
But-
awfully French.
They're the
Yeah,
same
I'm
thing, really.
Walloon.
They're really the same thing. But
No, just no. But in
It could be
France, it's
worse, you
more
could
due
call me
to
English.
incompetence, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm sure you do know more about this than me. I'm just looking for patterns between the British police and how they handle it, and
Yeah,
what other European
understandable.
countries are close. I mean, I don't know enough about France in general. I don't like the Frenchies very much, but that's just because I'm a Brit.
Oh, don't worry, me neither.
Yeah, no one
Uh,
likes them. Like, what is their purpose?
The French don't like the French, so
Exactly. Even they hate themselves.
do I have to come here and be oppositional because I actually like the French, but that's
You
because
also
most
like
of
the
French
Danish.
Oh, dude, the Danish are awesome.
you disgust
Um,
me.
Thank you.
But go on.
But no, I was gonna say because most of the
We
French
can all
people
agree
I've
the
met.
Swedish are shit.
Yes.
What? Swedes are awesome too.
Long
Lots of
live
the
the
rape rate.
Norwegians, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said tell it to the rape rate, highest in the world. But yeah, I'm with Breadmaker on this. Norway are a tad cringe, but they're probably the best out of the Nordics. Them or Finland.
I love Finland. I gotta say, actually, Finland's my favorite out of the Nordics, but that's because they're like depressed introverts.
Yeah. Though I'll say this: the one thing Norway does not have in any of the other countries, excluding Denmark, is the metal that came from Norway is the most cringe. and I'm gonna get murdered for this because black metal musicians are fucking crazy, but black metal is cringe.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah, I kind of agree. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, I like basically every kind of metal except black metal. Black metal's fucking cringe.
And
be
even
fair
more
though-
the true cult black metal.
Oh, for fuck's sake, yeah.
Yeah, the thing, yeah.
To give Norway some credit though, the worst Nordic country when it comes to metal is Denmark because all they have is Lars Ulrich. So
Yeah.
not a lot. But what were we talking about before I start talking about black metal?
You were talking about rape,
which
so we don't need to go down that one.
No, something.
I'm gonna get
something
decapitated
West
like the
European
French, you
country.
know. But yeah, we were talking about attacks in Paris and incompetence, wasn't it? Because of them ignoring out evidence they have.
Yeah. Just because I hope you don't mind if I take a moment to mention a conspiracy theory that I don't have, but one of the things that was, strongly, I guess, even as lived left, an influential event for me were the Ruby Ridge incident in America, as well as the Waco crisis during Clinton's, I was about to say reign, but presidency.
Reign's
in
a
the
pretty
US.
good description.
Well, yeah, and you had like Janet Reno as the head of the Justice Department, and the ATF and the FBI were really cracking down on sort of, I guess, anything that came out as some sort of like weird, independent, don't tread on me movement.
Yeah, even saying the ATF makes me angry.
Yeah, me too. I don't think the ATF. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people in the ATF that do good work, but Waco and Ruby Ridge were not good work.
I've not read about Ruby Ridge, but I know about Waco. And yeah,
you should read
What do you
about
know
Ruby
about
Ridge
these
because
those?
it involved an FBI informant that after he was like, I'm out of this crap, he like moved to like a small cabin in the woods with his family, and they like
Based.
tried to serve him with a based, right? I don't agree with the guy's politics, but he was just like, screw all this, I'm going back to Monkey. And then they like apparently tried to serve him with some sort of like subpoena to appear in court, but then like they never actually delivered the subpoena, but they thought they delivered the subpoena, but he didn't respond to the subpoena, so they sent like SWAT people to go attack his cabin.
Jesus.
So like they're just like chilling in their cabin when suddenly like gunfire erupts and their dog dies, right? And so immediately, obviously, because it's a whole
Jesus
bunch of lib-right
Christ.
people, they pull out their guns and they start getting ready for a siege to kill whoever just killed their dog. So it becomes this like long siege, and apparently, eventually, the thing is that became like the big issue is at one point like the guy's wife walked next to a window holding her baby, and a FBI sniper like just shot her and killed her. And it's like she
Fucking
never
hell.
got it. She was,
What?
Yeah. The
Damn,
government
what?
actually did eventually like just completely disavow this dude. They were like, we didn't give him a clearance to fire. Like, screw him. He gets to go to jail. We will not even protect him behind the thin
No,
blue
public
line. Like, they were
execution.
that. Yeah, no, seriously.
Fuck.
And the thing is, the guys eventually like the siege ended and all that, but there wasn't really any large like we were in the wrong other than we murdered your wife for holding a baby next to a window. But ultimately, there is a thing for me, which is like, look, I don't agree with this guy because he was sort of like a neo-Nazi who like sold illegally modified weapons to people and then became like an FBI sellout or whatever. But like, that's not a license to,
He sounds like
move
if Ted Kaczynski
in.
was less based.
Yeah, it's not good to do this, right? Like, this is not the way you handle things. It's not, you don't move a SWAT team in to like shoot a dude's dog when you didn't send a subpoena to a guy, but you thought you sent a subpoena to a guy, and then like he's just waking up the one morning to gunfire and the U.S. government moving in to kill him, and then like murdering his wife for holding a baby next to a window.
This is a situation where literally everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Well, I mean, thankfully the rest of his family didn't die. But I mean, if that's your standard for success, it's there's something.
He
wrong
could
with
have
At least it was
bombed
only your
the
wife
house.
and dog.
Yeah, and so these are things where it's like there is no conspiracy theory here. There is just people forgetting history and people screwing up. And the Waco situation is similar, right? Like, I don't know if you guys know too much about Waco. I'm sure you've heard.
I've read a bit here and there.
Not really.
Yeah, and it ultimately resulted in a whole bunch of people dying in a burning building. And it's sort of like, well, how did it get there? And it's like, well, they started a siege with a whole bunch of cultists, and then the cultists were in the building, and then like they had a siege, and they had like ATF machine guns and stuff, and the cultists didn't surrender, and they were firing like incendiary grenades inside, and apparently one of the incendiary grenades possibly might have ignited like gasoline inside of the building, and then it burned down, and everybody died. And it's sort of like, why was it necessary to do this? Like, I don't like the Waco branch Davidians. They had a crazy prophet dude. They had like
the
child
cultist guy-
brides.
the Texas cultist guys, yeah. I don't
Yeah,
think they
yeah,
used
the
grenades.
I believe
Yeah.
there
I thought they
were.
had a fucking tank.
They did have a tank.
something
They had a
with
machine
gas.
gun as well. But I do believe what the thing is it was possibly, or one of the theories I've heard is that the gasoline was ignited by. I believe it was either flashbangs or smoke grenades firing into the building by the ATF.
It
It could have
was,
also been done. It could have also been lit inside, right? It's not clear. But the point to me is, what did these people do that required that level of response, right?
Oh,
like,
If I remember correctly, didn't they just they were stockpiling weapons? If I remember correctly.
no, they were manufacturing guns and armor and then selling them back to the government. They had
I
their own
was about to say
licenses and
based,
everything.
and then you said they sold them to the government. Like that it just stopped being based right at that moment. But
Yeah, I know, right?
yeah, I mean, if you're gonna sell them to anyone, I mean that's some serious lib right shit, but still,
yeah, and I mean, it's thankfully, even though I feel that in the wake of 9/11, there were certain actions that the government took to greatly solidify the power of the government. Thankfully, it wasn't in repeating, these Waco Siege and Ruby Ridge level, like, we're just going to move in and have a SWAT team, like, kill people stuff, right? Thankfully, the U.S. government chose to pull that back after the war on terror started internally. But thanks to someone who I believe is a true patriot and should be pardoned at some point, the work of, my brain stopped working, that guy in Russia. Who sacrificed his life outside of.
Edward Snowden.
Thank you. Yes, that guy. I apologize. I've spent the last 10 hours drinking, but hopefully it doesn't come out too much in my voice. It was a going away party for a friend at work.
Oh, that's fair enough.
Thank you. Yeah. No, it wasn't just me sitting here and like drinking and then going, oh wait, the podcast started 10 minutes ago. I was out. But yeah, Edward Snowden, thankfully, did sort of give us an insight into the ways that the government was choosing to exert its power in not like this, we're just going to put, thug boots on the ground sort of way, but we're going to have people monitoring your every move and every conversation and recording everything so that, like, just there's a guy at the NSA that, have you ever heard the term sexpionage?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Okay. Is everybody here aware of the
No.
term?
No.
No.
Nope.
No.
Okay. It's interesting. I believe it was something that at least Snowden talked about being used within the agency, which referred to using the intelligence gathering apparatus that was there to either spy on exes or on people that you were stalking for some sort of romantic reason. Because, you could totally have some ex that you were pissed off that eventually she got tired of your shit because you're, the kind of guy that believes working for the NSA is a good thing and you should spy on everybody. And then they just like, hey, just listen into their phone feed, look at their stuff, oh, they're having sex with some guy, that bitch.
Isn't that
Sort of
what
thing.
Bob Lazar said happened to him while he was working at Area 51?
Who?
Bob Lazar, the
Oh yeah, the
alien
Area
guy.
51 guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait, do
I think he
you want to
said.
explain it, homie, or shall I?
You go ahead because you're
Alright.
gonna explain better. My English is not great.
Okay, so basically, Bob Lazar was a guy who claims to have worked in Area 51, and he also claims that there are UFOs in there. Well, not UFOs, because UFOs are unidentified flying objects. So, alien spacecrafts is what he claims they have in there. There's a whole episode of Joe Rogan where he goes over his story, and he's been saying it for
Yeah, because
good
UFOs are
30
not
years.
specifically
crazy
aliens
about.
shit.
yeah, exactly. But he's been talking about this for a long time at this point, decades at least. I want to say like 40 years. He's been maybe more. He's been saying it for ages. But the thing is, if you actually look into his story, he's actually very consistent with it. It's not like if you were making this whole elaborate story up about, oh, I was at Area 51 and there were fucking Martians. Like, you know, if you make someone like that elaborate up, you're probably going to have some issues with your story. But to be fair to him, he's very, very consistent with his story. So either he's a very good liar and has planned out very well, or what he's saying is true. But back to what you want to say, homie.
He supposedly got hired in the 1980s. I just googled it.
All right,
So
cheers.
it's 30 to 40 years that he's been saying all that
Jesus
stuff.
Christ, yeah. But yeah, he wrote some books as well, didn't he? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, and he also did a documentary, but I don't remember where it was. It was probably some.
I think it was on
bullshit.
Netflix. I want to say it was on Netflix. I haven't seen it, but I
I
think that's
think
where
it was also TV based because it was pretty old already before Netflix. He also had a new one, but he had an older documentary.
What the fuck? Okay, so I'm just on his Wikipedia page right now. There's a section for criminal convictions. In 1990, Lazar was arrested for aiding and abetting a prostitution ring. This was reduced to felony pandering, to which he pleaded guilty. He was ordered to do 150 hours of community service, stay away from brothels, and undergo psychotherapy. We also have, in 2006, Lazar and his wife Joy White were charged with violating the Federal Hazardous Substances Act for shipping restricted chemicals across state lines. The charges stemmed from a 2003 raid on United Nuclear's business offices, where chemical sales records were examined. Nuclear United pleaded guilty to 3 criminal counts of introducing into interstate commerce. I can't read that word. I'm a retard. And aiding and abetting the introduction of interstates, I can't read that word, banned hazardous substances. In 2007, United Nuclear was fined £7,500 for violating a law prohibiting the sale of chemicals and components used to make illegal fireworks. Yeah. So, yeah, he was a pimp.
What you're telling me is he sounds like Lee's Liberite.
He also had
is, though. He's a guy who claims...
into his fucking car.
Yeah, he claims to have worked at Area 51 and he was aided prostitution in the 90s. Yeah, he's very liberate. I want to say base, but prostitution's fucking cringe. So, but yeah, to be fair, his story is consistent, and I wouldn't say being a criminal automatically means what you say is like false. But how he got into prostitution after working at Area 51, I do not know.
Man's got to make money.
Lots
Though, have
and
you guys
lots
ever...
of drugs.
Yeah,
maybe one of those two things are not true. Maybe
he pleaded guilty to the prostitution one.
Yeah.
Maybe he found the aliens.
Maybe it's the other thing that isn't.
The other
true.
thing, let's see. Yeah, apparently they were charged with a let's see. Yeah, I can't find anything about them pleading on the restricted chemicals, but he did aid and abet a prostitution ring. He is flat out just pleaded guilty to it.
But hear me out. What if those weren't prostitutes? What if he actually rescued the aliens from Area 51 and then ran an alien brothel?
He rescued the aliens and then pimped them out.
Of course,
Yes.
it makes sense.
Yes,
Okay.
logical sense. Step 1, rescue aliens. Step 2,
I mean, people would
Profits.
pay a lot. People would pay a lot, though. Think about it. Like if you like the amount of people who like banged aliens in Mass Effect, and that's like a video game.
Alien porn.
Exactly. Think
there
about how
is
much.
so much.
Exactly. Think about how much some people would pay to bang an alien.
And let's
Yeah,
be honest,
true,
if aliens
yeah.
came to Earth, the first thing we would think would be, how can we fuck them?
Exactly. Yeah. That's just human nature at this point. It's just you see some new species. How can I fuck it? So yeah, if aliens were real and you had saved a bunch of them, it would make sense to pimp it out. Like it makes complete sense.
Can I have a not lib left moment and say no?
What
I
are
mean,
you, a nerd?
Yeah, why are you? See, you're not a true lib left. What I always find kind of interesting though is that like, and the thing that always kind of made me think Bob Lazar might be full of shit was like, there's so many people who like have just been killed by the U.S. government for like talking out about stuff. So if I'm gonna try, I'm gonna remember this partially off, but during the MK Ultra trials, there was a guy who was wanting to leave the it was some weapons program in the U.S. military. He was wanting to quit his job, and eventually he was he apparently jumped out his window. However, if you look into the crime scene, it indicates that he was pushed out that window, and at that time the U.S. government had given him had sent him to a therapist. A therapist who was also a CIA agent who had wrote a document about the best ways to kill people, with his favorite being pushing them out a window and saying they committed suicide. So you see this happen a lot for lots of people. What I always find weird is that they just let Bob Lazar keep going on.
Well, I mean, killing him would confirm essentially it.
Yeah, but like right
Well-
when he started though,
Yes
like
and no.
right when he
Yeah, you
started
can
talking about this
continue.
stuff. Yeah, before he became so famous, because like, how far aware are you guys of the Men in Black conspiracy?
What one?
Okay,
By conspiracy, you mean the existence of strange men in black that oftentimes like appear in the wake of strange sightings and tell people not to talk about crap, but they also have like various weird stuff like
yes.
what's the word? A chronological mannerisms, old cars, lack of body hair, and other weird things relating to these sightings.
Yes, you've just nailed it. The only other thing is that they sometimes go after people who have said they had the alien sightings. Now, let's say hypothetically that this is true and that does happen. Maybe. Wouldn't they do that to Bob Lazar as well? It's strange to me that like right from the start he was just able to keep going on about, oh, they've got fucking Martians in the Area 51, and just nothing was ever considered about doing anything about it.
I mean, didn't they try to unperson him essentially, like locked his phone, start deleting his public records? Like
Did they?
it looked like, yeah, it looked like he didn't exist for a bit, for a couple of years.
Oh, really? I did not know about this. Scrap everything I just said then. I did not know about that.
And
As
I
I'm
mean,
not the most knowledgeable on him.
I mean, me neither. I've just seen a couple of podcasts.
Yeah, he's like he's one of those guys who everyone's heard of him, or most people have heard of him, but no one really knows loads about him. Though like, I'm assuming we can all agree there are probably aliens out there. Like that's just something I think most of us can agree on. It's just there
That's
are.
a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't make loads of sense that we're the only species out there. That's my
I'm gonna
But we
keep
will
my theory about
probably
aliens
never
to be-
contact them.
Yeah, but that's the thing is what I always find weird when people are talking about aliens is everyone always so many people just assume like the greys kind of aliens, you know, like
Yeah.
the ones with like the big eyes, fucking looking like that. Who fucking voiced them? That shitty movie Paul. People like imagine that, but like that's the thing is like what could be an alien species could be something like it doesn't have to look like something out of Star Trek. It could literally be some kind of like microbe or something, and it's still
It doesn't have to look like anything at all like us.
exactly,
in fact.
yeah. Exactly. It could be something like even beyond our comprehension.
Yeah, it could
Because
be
it could be
even really small or really big, or
yeah, it could be. It's so far out there in the galaxy
don't
that it
even
could
have
be some
eyes.
shit we couldn't even come up with. Yeah, exactly. So I find that weird when people like talk about aliens and they're like, oh yeah, and they just imagine like little gray men. Like I get that's the most famous one, but it's still like
And again,
that-
there is a great chance that even if they exist, we will never meet them.
exactly because the
Because
universe
they
is so
are too
big.
far away, or maybe you're dead. We don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. Or they just haven't come about yet.
well, you've heard the Great Filter Theory, right?
The Great Filter. I'm not actually.
Really? Fuck.
Okay. Describe to me what it is, and I will be able to. I might not know it by name. Describe it for me.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
the
it is.
Go ahead. I'll let you take this one.
Okay, so the Great Filter is essentially the idea that life comes in stages, if I'm describing this right. One of these stages is so hard that either we've barely scraped by it, or it's ahead of us still, and we're likely going to die. That's the gist
Alright.
of it. The
And,
very,
well, I
very
was gonna
minimum.
say that it's specifically relevant to extraterrestrials because the idea is like, well, why if there are multiple planets that could support life, like, and we are not particularly early in the history of the universe, have we not found some evidence of any other alien civilization existing before us? And people bring up this great filter theory, which is before an alien civilization gets to the point that it would spread throughout the stars, there is something that destroys them. And I guess this can oftentimes be the idea of either they develop some kind of AI that then completely wipes out the species, they develop nuclear weapons or some level of that, and then within internecine fighting, completely render their planet incapable of supporting life and kill themselves because, politicians are stupid, or some other thing, but just that there is some sort of constantly reoccurring filter that kills off civilizations before they become
Yeah.
spacefaring races.
And it's
there
called
is
4chan.
a lot of theory about why we never met alien species. But
Yeah, that's fucking
the,
interesting, man.
the
There's
one
also,
I think is the more believable and maybe the saddest is maybe because it's just impossible to conquer the stars. Like, we cannot. It's just physically impossible to travel
maybe.
this far and terraform planets. Maybe we just can't.
Well, I mean,
that also plays into the Fermi paradox and the dark forest theory about the universe, right?
Yep.
I have no clue what both of those are.
I was going to talk about someone was so you were talking about like aliens wiping themselves out and all that. So there's actually a theory about humanity that so have any of you guys seen the third Matrix movie?
No, I have
No.
yet to see any of them.
All right.
Third
Yeah,
one. That's of the original trilogy.
Yes, not the new one. Not the new one.
Got it. Yeah, I know. I watched it
Revelations.
a long time ago. I watched it in the theater, so it's
Oh
kind of
Christ! Yeah. I saw that movie a few years ago, but I'm just gonna go on. Okay, just gonna say this now. Skip like a minute ahead if you don't want the third Matrix movie spoiled for you. But basically, so I'm assuming we all understand the concept of the Matrix, right? We all know what the Matrix
Yeah.
is about. All right.
Yeah.
So there's a say of like actual humans outside the Matrix called Zion, and essentially at the end of the third Matrix movie, the machines are like trying to get into Zion to kill everyone in it, and like it becomes it's someone respond to proxy for me. So basically, it's revealed that to Neo, the main character, that in fact the machines have entered and killed everyone in Zion multiple times, and it just keeps repeating itself. So there's a theory that basically like what's happening now has essentially already happened again before, and we've wiped ourselves out like completely. We might be even a completely different species and from humans, and we've just wiped ourselves out, and life on Earth has just started again. So, yeah, where we're at currently, there might be like, a species similar to human beings, they're humanoid maybe, that got to this point, maybe got another how many years into it, wiped themselves out through nuclear annihilation or whatever kind of method we want to talk about. And what ended up happening is somehow, and then small microbes evolved until we got to like monkeys, and then you got to us, and then we're going to wipe ourselves out like all the previous civilizations have, and then something's going to spawn from us.
Okay, Joe Rogan.
Thank you.
I cannot believe that this is what happened with Mars, actually, because we know that there was water, we know that there was just a bunch of shit that could support life on Mars like thousands of years, millions of years ago, even. And I mean, it just kind of got destroyed. So what if we actually had managed to terraform Earth, some great disaster happened in Mars, and then the people who were left in here essentially got left out with no technology. I mean, right now, if we did start coloning Mars and Earth got wiped out because of like nuclear war or something, I don't think that the colony on Mars would be able to recreate technology. So through the years and while the technology decays, they would probably end up turning back into some sort of caveman.
No, they just pray to the machine god.
Based.
Praise be the on Messiah.
Yes. I was sort of worried for no one was gonna get the joke. There was just, that's one thing I was like, oh fuck it, no one got it. But yeah, maybe.
Oh, hey, on the topic of Mars, did any of you guys see that, like, that probably Photoshop photo of where, like, it's like
Yeah,
a
I think everyone saw it.
door
Of what?
on Mars?
Okay, describe the image for me.
I don't fucking know where it is.
Describe it, meant.
Oh, it's like a fucking photo of a mountain, like one of Mars's
I'm gonna
mountains,
find it.
and it has like a solid door-shaped opening carved into it.
Okay, I
Maybe
found it.
Maybe Mars is hollow.
Okay.
Hollow Mars theory.
Gonna
Gravity
send
like
it.
The hollow Mars theory, yeah.
There. Okay.
There was also like another photo of like this weird growth thing on Mars. That one's 100% Photoshopped. I
Okay,
can tell.
That's look like it's lead to nothing.
Yeah, it looks like it's just a small opening that's been carved out. Well,
Yeah,
maybe not
a
hand carved, but
hole.
it's maybe just weathered away.
I can't tell if I think that's fake or not. That's it
But
looks like
just
it looks.
shit enough.
And even
So-
if it's not fake, it's lead to literally nothing. It just if you see the roof, it's just going down so quickly and
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you could fit. I don't think there's like a door there. I think it's literally like it's like the side of a triangle, really, where there's nothing there.
yeah.
Unless the ground suddenly like drops all of a sudden, which I don't think it is. I don't think there's anything there.
I think it's just a weird shape that looks like a door, so we think it's a door. But
Yeah.
there is just nothing there. I mean,
It's also
Yeah, pattern
weird,
seeking
Andy.
brain goes.
So they'll have to send us a text though, just so you can just put it in the video so everyone can see what we're talking about. But yeah, that's not a door. And that's a cool idea. That's a really cool idea. It's just if there was if there was just a door randomly found in Mars, that would be fucking cool.
That would be
it's
great
the
for
case
conspiracy
with
theories.
most.
Oh, that would drive me mental. But
It's
yeah,
the
that's
case
not a
with
door.
most weird conspiracy theory. Is like it would be cool if it was true. It will be more
yeah.
a more exciting life if it was true, but it's not.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff I want to
reptilians.
believe. Yeah,
All the things with reptilians. I mean, okay,
Mark
now
Zuckerberg is
life
not human. We can just
looks
go
like
with
a
that.
sci-fi movie, but it's not true. I mean,
it sadly isn't.
Yeah.
So, actually, I was going to say about that. So, that's what QAnon is. Is lots of people who are like believe in QAnon. To me, they're just people who like. It sounds cool to them that Trump's fighting a shadow war against global. I believe the global stuff. Like Trump's with them. QAnon's fucking stupid. It's a LARP, and it's a bunch of people who they want like a more exciting things in their life, so they believe
Yeah.
all this dumb shit. QAnon is a psyop, is what I'm saying. It's nothing more than like a net on people who could like get into like all the real shit. It's a fucking psyop. I'm sorry. Pizzagate probably was as well, but QAnon without a doubt was a psyop. And people who believe it are genuinely fucking stupid. And that's coming from the guy who believes in interdimensional elves.
I actually was going to bring those up at some point, but I am going to slightly come in here in favor of you, not because I specifically like. I prefer to say something is something if I have some kind of evidence. I haven't really looked into the QAnon stuff too much. It does seem
It's fucking
a little bit
nonsense.
like it does sound that way. I got to admit. But one of the things that, to me at least, as far as a maxim that seems to support your claim, is that it's easier to believe a lie if the lie sounds like it's the truth, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is one thing. Ironically, Goebbels said the opposite, and that also is true. Of it's easy to believe a lie if it is so huge that you can't believe that it could be a lie. So ironically,
I wouldn't say Trump fighting a shadow war against the globals is particularly believable, though. That's fucking laughable. Like, the man has
Oh,
so
no,
many photos with
I-
Epstein.
I agree it's
I
laughable,
guess
but
the Orange Muppet would fight a shadow war.
to the people that want to believe in conspiracy theories, the idea that there is a group of malfeasant bureaucrats that are doing horrible things because they are evil is like, you want a conspiracy theory? There's actually a conspiracy. And they go, yes, I knew it.
Well, I believe that part, but I think that all the stuff about like Q drops, and especially just the Trump basically being the emperor of mankind shit, it's just where I go, what the fuck are you on? Like, there's real shit out there you can find about this, but QAnon is not a good example of that whatsoever. It's random posts on 4chan. Like, how do you know the same guy who's posting this shit to 4chan? It's the same guy. Like, I use 4chan. But I would not trust.
Cringe.
Fuck off. But I would not trust some random post just saying, "Oh, Trump is fighting a fucking shadow war against the reptilian globalists." No, I can look into other shit about globalists, but yeah, people who actually believe this shit are fucking morons, and it's a psyop. It's what it is. It's nothing more than that. It's a bunch of people thinking Trump's fighting this war for them, and this fake war is going on when there's real shit going on, and they're fucking ignoring it for what is essentially a blockbuster film that they think is real. I'm sorry if I'm getting angry about this, but fuck it, QAnon pisses me off a lot.
That was a nice rant.
Well, feature of this episode, Scotsman gets pissed at 4chan.
Yeah.
I have to ask you a question, Liquid, which is, have you ever
Alright.
seen the Simpsons like clip relating to angry Scots people?
Is it the one where he's talking? Is it the one where Willie goes, "Brothers and sisters are natural enemies, like
Yeah, that
Englishmen
one,
and
that one,
Scots, and Welshmen and Scots, and Japanese and Scots, and Scots and other Scots. Damn Scots, they ruined Scotland." Yeah,
What
I've seen
the
that.
fuck did I just come back to?
It's completely accurate.
Yeah,
Without
and
a
then
doubt.
followed by
You
the
just made
principal
an enemy
saying,
for life. Yeah.
"Yeah, that one. You sure sound like a contentious people. You just made an enemy for life."
It's completely accurate. It's completely accurate. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's a huge population of the Scots pop. There's a huge part of the Scots population who I hate. So yeah, genuinely, the whole damn Scots they ruined Scotland is completely true about Scotland. Yeah, not gonna lie. It's yeah. They like The Simpsons has gone shit, but Groundskeeper Willie will never stop being funny to me.
He's based. I mean,
Oh, he is
he's based.
so based. Yeah, it's like that's it's the greatest portrayal I could ask for. Because think about how fucking ripped he is. The man is a Chad.
Yeah, the man's a total Chad. He just wants to be a groundskeeper and be Scottish and, be ripped.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. Also, he's if I remember correctly, the football team he supports is Aberdeen. So based on him. I'm pretty sure there's like a joke where he like gets woken up randomly. He just shouts "Go Aberdeen" and that's it. Which I know none of you will know what Aberdeen is, but
No.
yeah, go Aberdeen. Though I am Lord of Dundee. I'm trying to think if they've mentioned Aberdeen in a Glory Hammer songs because they've mentioned Forfar, the Tay River's been mentioned, Dundee a lot. Basically, that's a rule with just Scots cities in general. Is like a lot of them have stupid fucking names. If you hear about a city in a Glory Hammer song, it's probably real. Nearly all Scottish cities are terrible. I think I've talked about this before, but Glasgow is filled with heroin, Edinburgh's filled with whores, and every other city is filled with some kind of drug.
Nice.
wait, which cities are filled with whores and drugs? Just
Okay.
for information.
All right, Glasgow's
You
filled with
have to
heroin.
avoid them.
Edinburgh's filled with whores. So Edinburgh's the capital, but like Glasgow's probably like the most famous city because it is literally just known for heroin. The amount of fucking heroin in Glasgow is crazy. Like it would surprise you because that's literally what it's known for worldwide is heroin.
I thought it was known worldwide for having completely indecipherable accents.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Well, that's Scotland as a whole, but
No. Glasgow. I mean, I can decipher most Scottish accents, but Glaswegian from like a 70-year-old like actual Glaswegian is
Yeah.
just like
What?
it ain't English, bro.
Are,
if I
are
remember
we
correctly,
still civilized?
we had a Scottish politician actually go down to Westminster in England, and he was going to talk of some kind, and they couldn't tell what he was saying because of the accent. That's how bad a Scottish accent can be at times.
Wait, can I ask you a question? This isn't a conspiracy theory thing, but it is sort
Go
of
ahead.
related to the magical theory of kingdoms, which I
Yes,
think
go
is
ahead.
close enough. So, even though I am not Scottish, I take great offense at the fact the English were so cheeky as to, after they finished in
Cheeky
whichever
fucking
conflict,
villains.
like slapping around the Scots, steal the stone of Scone, which I'm probably mispronouncing, and then embed it into the throne in Westminster Cathedral, so that the traditional magical stone over which Scottish kings were coronated was now stuck in the English throne, so that when the English coronated their kings, they were stealing the national magic of Scotland so that it would be sucked into the English kings, so that they were magically made the kings of Scotland. This
What?
seems to be both ridiculous and also like a massive dick move.
Yeah. I don't hate the English as much as lots of other Scots. Lots of other Scots fucking hate the English for no real reason at times.
No, there's a reason.
No. So allow me to explain. So a lot of Scots want independence and hate the English entirely because quite a lot of British oil comes from Scotland. However, at the same time, what I find retarded about that is they're going, "Why do we have to give the English our oil?" But at the same time, Scotland literally is only run on English tax money. Like I talk about Scotland a lot, but the thing is, if Scotland goes independent, and it won't. But if it does, Scotland will fucking collapse. It's so much of like how
No
everything
shit.
is run. Oh yeah, exactly. Because so much of it is run is on English tax money. It won't survive. It will fucking collapse. And like,
Wait, I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
This is going to sound snarky, but I just have to ask. Based off of the understanding of a larger government financing a smaller government for various things that makes their life easier, despite the fact that they want independence, were you in favor or against Brexit?
Oh, I'm for Brexit.
Okay, just want to check.
Oh no, so I'm actually for Scottish independence under a few things. One, not under
Fuck.
not under the SNP. The SNP will fucking destroy Scotland. They are completely fucking corrupt and authoritarian. They have literally stolen billions of taxpayer money. No SNP if we go for independence. Second of all, because I have fucking common sense, I think what the SNP should do if they want independence is they should spend the next 10 years or so making Scotland's economy able to actually function without English money. Make our economy more independent and self-reliant on itself, where it can take no longer having the billions of pounds of English tax money come into it. Which I think is just common sense. Over 10 years, create a plan for how the economy is going to go if we go independent, instead of going, hey, we're going to go independent and we're just going to yank ourselves right out with no fucking plan.
You want to be a Scottish
Sounds
man
about
if you didn't do it
right.
that way.
What would you say, Alcius?
I said sounds about right.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we have to have it now. And they're genuinely like fucking children who they can't wait a decade more, maybe? Just 5 years. Literally just take 5 years to give us a plan so I won't lose all my fucking money when our economy collapses. And at the same time, it's not even independence because they want to rejoin the EU. I'm sorry, this is a conspiracy theory episode, and I am ranting about Scotland. The real conspiracy should be why people vote for the fucking SNP. Mind control. That's what I'm saying it is, and that's honestly plausible. Not gonna lie. The SNP. I'm sorry. I'm getting angry about Scotland when the episode topic isn't Scotland.
They put
Like I
chemicals in the
said,
water.
episode of Scottishman gets angry.
Literally, it is. Yeah, it's literally that bit from The Simpsons. Yeah, I've literally just reinforced the stereotype. But there's a reason.
Natural enemies, like the English and the Scottish, or the SMP and the Scottish.
Genuinely, yeah. Genuinely, yeah. I have reinforced the stereotype, so it shows that there is truth to that stereotype. However, there is a conspiracy theory I do want to talk about, and I don't know if we're going to have to have this edited out because it's a fairly recent one.
Oh no.
However, Justin Trudeau is Fidel Castro's son. Have you guys
Let me
looked
go
into
what
Never
I
heard of that.
stupid.
I've heard this rumor somewhere, but I never looked into it.
All right, so allow me to explain. So, Trudeau's parents in I want to say it was the 70s were known for being swingers and sleeping around, and they were good friends with Fidel Castro. Apparently, Trudeau's father also was a bit of a cuck,
Okay.
and if you look at the photos of Trudeau and Castro, there's like comparison photos. They look awfully alike, like noticeably alike, which leads us to the conclusion of swingers were friends with Castro, good friends of Castro. There's quite a few photos of them together. Dad apparently has a cuck fetish, and the son looks just like Castro.
Those kind of theory, I think, or those kind of, like I said, those kind of theory, if they are true, I think that doesn't change anything really.
I know it
Yeah,
doesn't. It's just funny to me. It's just funny to me.
Yeah, it's fun, but I mean,
I mean,
it
there
doesn't
is
change.
there is one theory that like
lot.
that does change things. So, in the British royal family, there
Mhm.
was. So I'm assuming we all know who Princess Diana was and how she died. So she had multiple sons, one of which recently left the royal family, Prince Harry. And the thing is he does not look like his dad at all. He looks like I think it was a tennis player who hung around Princess Diana a lot. Like a
Wasn't it
lot.
like a palace guard?
Wait, what?
One of the soldiers that guard the palace, I think.
No, I thought it was like a tennis player or something. I can't remember. It was someone anyway. And Prince Harry looks much more like him than his father, and that does change stuff because, well, they're the fucking royal family.
Yeah,
and
in
I have
that
my
case, that change a lot of things.
Yeah,
course.
exactly. And then you can get into the good theories about Princess Diana being murdered. I think she was, personally. The official story about what happened does not make a lot of sense. So I personally think it was a setup to kill her. So
Could have
and that
been.
yeah, and her doing that probably would have been one of the factors of why that happened. So that's like the one where I would say, yeah, that kind of theory actually does make a huge fucking difference of what happened there. But the Castro Trudeau son thing, it doesn't change a lot. Trudeau's still terrible either way. Though I don't know if you'll like him more, Alcius, knowing that he was Castro's son. But yeah, it's just a funny one to me. Like it's amusing to think that the is he the prime
it's
minister or the
fun.
president of Canada?
It's fun.
Yeah, it's funny to think that the prime minister of Canada is a Castro's son. That's a funny idea, and I think it probably is true. And it's not like one of the really out there ones that's fun. So like one of my favorite out there ones that's fun is Nazi moon bases. That one's so fucking stupid, but it's hilarious to me at the same time.
Nazi what now?
Nazi moon bases.
Oh, Nazi moon bases.
Yeah.
I assume you're saying this is a hilarious thing to think about, but it doesn't actually exist. Like level.
No, the Nazis had bases on the moon, guys. No, it's fucking stupid, and I think it's funny.
Though it did give us one of the best lines from the original, the original Wolfenstein remake game, which I think you should all play if you play video games.
Which one are we talking about? I played the one of the more recent ones, the New
Order.
Order.
The New Order.
New Order, not
Yeah, it's a good one.
the Colossus.
I did not
New
care
Order
for
was
it.
great. You didn't like New Order? Are you really?
I like Doom much more. I just didn't care for the gunplay, the New Order. I don't know what it was. It just felt off to me. So I just rather play Doom Eternal. for the
Okay,
first time
fair
around.
enough.
Understandable, yeah.
It sort of hit game of the year for me when BJ Blazkowicz said the immortal, wonderfully written line, "I'm coming for you, fucking Nazi spaceman."
That's epic.
Yeah, that's pretty
What game
good.
was this?
Wolfenstein: The New Order. That's up there with the line from Command and Conquer Red Alert 3, the one with Tim Curry in it, where he says, "I'm going to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism, space." That game's great though. Tim Curry's got so many great lines in that game, and also they had J.K. Simmons play the president and David Hasselhoff play the vice president.
I forgot
Perfection.
that.
And also,
Perfection.
going back to the topic of theories, of conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I may have one, but I don't know a lot of it. I have some memories about it. So this theory is telling that do you know a bit about the Korean War?
I know bits here and there. I don't know
Okay.
loads about it.
And it was during a video that talked about the red threat, and that Stalin didn't really wanted to conquer the world. And this theory is that in reality, the Stalin tried to use the Korean War to destroy China,
All right.
basically,
Sounds plausible.
That does sound plausible, actually.
because it's a known fact that Stalin didn't like communist China, and its plan was to help a bit to start this Korean War, and planned that the US will intervene. They did, and destroy the Korean front, go into China, start a war with China, and use the atomic bomb to wipe out China, basically.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah,
we should
that
have done
sounds- That certainly
That
sounds
sounds
plausible.
very plausible.
Yeah,
And-
that does.
yeah,
That's a
because-
good one.
The nuclear weapon was about to be used with I always forgot his name, but he's well known.
MacArthur,
Yeah.
that fucking nut job.
So he could have used the nuclear weapon. He wanted to use the nuclear weapon, but he was dismissed, if I remember correctly, and
Yeah, because
replaced.
he just straight up disobeyed direct orders from the president.
So this theory could have happened, but there is no official text that's where Stalin would have said that directly. So it's a theory.
Yeah, that sounds awfully plausible, actually. That's a good one, actually. I'll give you that. That's a really good one.
Thank you.
It's to that point where you're not getting into some of the fucking crazy stuff, like the
Yeah.
elves and shit. Like I literally once I tweeted yesterday just for an idea of how much I get into this stuff. I literally just tweeted hashtag Bill Gates bioterrorist. Like you're not getting into like that kind of stuff. It's
No,
just
no.
though if you want to see me never tweet, and when I do, it's just me shit like Bill Gates bioterrorist. Follow me on Twitter at Liquid Narrator.
No.
No publicity, please.
Just gonna show for myself right now. I never
Only
used
you
it.
him for 5
Big
minutes.
guys moment.
Just a quick shell. But yeah, that's like one of those ones where it's not like out there, like Bill Gates bioterrorist. It's one that's completely plausible.
And
So
also,
like even someone who doesn't trust conspiracy. So yeah,
now
that's a
that
good
I've talked about Stalin, let's talk about the
one. Yeah.
Oh
let's-
no.
Let's talk about that.
Come
No.
on. Yeah, I
No,
mean,
no.
feel
I'm just
free,
Let's
and
get
I
to
will tell you
Argentina.
you're wrong, probably, but like,
Okay, no, I don't think we will. Tax will go fucking crazy if we did.
Come
So
on. God's chosen people. Don't do that.
yeah, we're not gonna go full Elders of Zion here.
SMH.
So what do you guys know about the Denver International Airport?
Fucking military
Oh.
bunker.
Okay, good. So
I've
So-
seen a video on it.
does anyone here not know about the Denver Airport?
personally, I don't
that
know.
would be me. Go ahead.
All right. So the Denver Airport. Where do I start with this? Okay.
It's a glorified
The
military
force-
base.
the
Oh, yeah,
force in
it's
the
a-
front of it.
It's 100% a nuke shelter. for the New World Order, without a doubt. So to start, there is a big horse statue, like a demon horse kind of thing, on the runway called Lucifer, who killed its creator by the head coming off and killing him. They put the head back on and he's still there. That's the first part of this. Second, the runways are literally shaped like a swastika. You can look it up. It
What?
is the runways, like the building's design, is shaped like a swastika.
Okay.
Literally, you can look this up. Then there are murals all over the place that are. I'm just gonna get photos of these for you, because there's no way to describe like. There's no way to explain what the fuck is wrong with these murals without you seeing them. They are fucking creepy as shit.
Just share your screen.
Oh right, yeah. No, I'll post just photos, just so
Yeah,
tags
and
can
voice
use
bit
them.
text.
Yeah. One sec. Yeah, so tags can just post these in the video with the Mars door. All right. This is just one of them, but look at this. What the?
Yeah,
This is
I
in
saw
the.
that.
This is in the Denver airport.
Where did you
Okay.
post this?
Voice but text.
Yeah, that's
Do you see what I
the
mean?
fuck?
that's something.
What in the fuck am I looking at?
This is in the Denver airport. You can go there and find this. I'll get the photo of the swastika runways
Well,
for you.
technically, it doesn't look
I'm
like
so
a
fucking
pro-Nazi
confused at
thing.
what I'm looking at.
One sec. I'll get this. Yeah. Okay.
Isn't
Here
it
you go.
also theory that these are like prophecies or some shit?
Yeah. All right. Here's the runways. I'll just post that there. So someone's gone over with it with like a marker to show you exactly where the swastika is on it. Look at this.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is? I'll get a picture of Lucifer for you as well. But yeah, this is. If I remember correctly, there was some kind of a disaster that was happening at some point, and they literally sent Obama here because. Yeah, it's a nutshell for the New World Order. There's so much weird shit going on there. All right, what?
Can I just take a moment to say,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree that this is all extremely sus. It seems a little bit almost too sus, right?
All right, here's
Like-
Lucifer.
Yeah.
His head came off and
Yeah.
killed its
I
creator.
agree.
Like if I was the New World Order and it's like, okay, we need an airport in which we're going to use to base off our, elites who are servants of Mammon to, survive or something like that. How are we going to design it? I would not be like, well, the first thing we need to do is make these extremely weird murals that look like the New World Order is prophesying the death of democracy, and then we also need to align the the runways into a swastika just to make it even more suspicious, and we also need to have a giant horse that somebody photoshopped a glowing eye on. Like, honestly,
Is that Photoshop? There's so many photos of him like that I think that's just in the head.
okay, fair enough. Like,
It's probably so the
Um,
fucking planes don't hit it.
yeah,
probably.
that makes sense. But okay, so like all of this seems, again, and I hate to say this, like, because I
Yeah,
often
no, that's in its
Sure.
eyes. That's not photoshopped.
Okay. So again, that makes it, I guess, even more hilarious because, like, oh, and we also need this gigantic blue horse statue with glowing.
That killed its creator. Yeah.
This really just strikes me as, one possible theory is somebody who's a massive troll
That would
involved
be the
in the
greatest
panic.
thing ever. Yeah. This is like John McAfee levels of trolling right here.
That's a problem with
Exactly.
a lot of conspiracy theory, where you see a lot of signs that are so visible that the New World Order would have to be really stupid to do
So
that.
I actually think that the New World Order is actually incredibly arrogant, and they believe they believe that they are so impervious to all this shit that they can just do stuff like this, and people are just never going to know. Like, you look at how much do you guys know about Jimmy Savile?
Oh,
Okay,
A decent amount. He's a British pedophile dude who was extremely famous for an extremely long time.
okay. So basically, he was a TV presenter here in Britain. He did like shows of kids and stuff, and then it came out he was raping all the kids. And there are lots and lots of clips you can find of Jimmy Savile where he's basically just outing himself as a pedophile, and nobody picked up on it. So like, there's one where he flat out. I think he was on the show Have I Got News for You, and he says something along the lines of, "I'm feared in every girls' school all over the country," and this is while he
Jesus.
was raping kids. And there's tons and tons of clips of him doing stuff like this. It is
Yeah, he plays it as a joke, sort of, in a lot of interviews where, he's just like playing this personality of somebody that makes like edgy comments as a joke.
yeah,
And
just
so
being a
he's like this beloved TV personality, and they'll be like, well, haven't you upset somebody? And he's like, well, I've, upset a lot of, young girls' parents when I, I was leaving their house. And then people will be like, ha, 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 ha.
yeah. It was
But then like afterwards, it's like, oh no, he was actually a gigantic pedophile that was raping a whole bunch of children for this
Yeah.
entire time.
He was playing a character who was basically like a parody of Andy Dick, but then it turns out no, that wasn't a character, and he got away with all of this because this stuff only came out after he died. So I think it's a
yeah.
bit like that, where it's like they're so completely fucking
Well,
arrogant that they think they
I
can
think
just
there
get
is a
away with it like
difference.
that.
Because in that case, it's just one human being that could be just
Oh, no,
completely
there-
crazy.
No, he was completely covered up by the BBC for doing all this stuff.
No, I mean the comments. It's because some people are just so crazy and need this feeling of I play with people. It's a thing that appear with a lot of serial killer that plays with the police.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
if you're talking about a secret organization that wants power and control the world, do you think they will lose time to play and just put those little sign everywhere just to have this mind game? I mean, even if they could do that and still be a secret, why would they do that even with this possibility? Just don't take this risk and nobody knows.
As I say, I just think they're very, very arrogant, and it's especially because they control so much of the media and all that. Oh, hey, Proxy's gonna join. That because they control so much of information flow that I don't think they were anticipating the internet, so they thought they could just before we had the internet, basically all your knowledge, your like news and all that was just coming from these mainstream sources. So they completely controlled all information flow, and I think the internet is it's a big flaw in many aspects for humanity,
Well,
but at the same time, it's one of our biggest strengths.
in that case, yes, but then why will they continue if they know now that this can be a problem?
Because they have funneled everyone into these same future sites, so they can still control the narrative. I mean, we're talking about we can't say these things on YouTube because they'll ban us. How many fucking people use BitChute?
Well,
And
in
for
that case,
honesty-
it's just more about publicity and a big company don't want to be associated with somber subject.
Legally, they're not responsible for that though.
Yeah, but
and-
they are still associated because
I mean-
it's how the mind of people works.
I mean, we all know that the Silicon Valley giants do all. They all meet together. Like you saw what happened with Alex Jones when he was banned. Was the Proxy's gone already?
Okay, left. Okay.
Oh,
That was quick.
Record.
But like when Alex Jones was banned, it was literally there he's back. Yeah, when Alex Jones was banned, it was everyone all at once got rid of him. So we know they have meetings. So I think it is just part of they want to control the narrative thing. You saw like with the Hunter Biden laptop story, Twitter completely censored any information about that before the U.S. election. It's information control.
Yeah. No, I agree on that. Yeah.
It's
Let's
true
give
because
them the airport.
Proxy, is your mic
Let's
working then?
finish this.
I'll take that as a
Hello?
no.
Proxy.
Proxy?
So you can hear me?
Alright,
Yeah.
yeah, we can hear you.
I had some issues with the microphone, so I saw late and I came. What did I miss?
We were just talking about information control and the Denver airport.
The Denver airport. I think I've heard this. Is that specific one with a statue of a bull or something? No, I think it was a statue of a blue horse with red eyes.
Yes, Lucifer. Look in the voice but text channel. You'll see these are all things in the Denver airport. And that's what we were discussing. Is that would they be that arrogant that they would have all this stuff? And I mean, some of these people who I think are like the globalists, so you take the World Economic Forum, for example, lots of them do have ties to Nazis. So you take the leader of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab. His father was a Nazi, and he was brought up in Nazi Germany. And the man has a lot of similar beliefs to the Nazis. So to say that they are Nazis is certainly a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, NASA also started up with Nazi scientists.
Oh yeah, well, U.S. government hired tons of Nazi scientists for their space program. So,
Well, it makes sense.
exactly, yeah.
Profits.
Oh, of course. But I'm saying,
I mean,
the
it makes
possibility of there
sense.
being genuine Nazis running parts of the government is no conspiracy at this point. Like, you see the amount of influence the World Economic Forum has. Like,
Well,
I mean,
yeah, it's possible, but I mean,
I
yeah.
mean, the leader of it, flat out, is just he's a Nazi. As I said, his father was a known Nazi, and he was brought up in Nazi Germany.
I mean,
And
in all honesty now, do you really think that the World Economic Forum is, or at least the policies it follows, are national socialist?
when it comes to all the Nazi stuff, I have no fucking clue what I was talking about there. So take everything that's said with a grain of salt, because I'll admit I was having to carry this a little bit. You could probably all hear that. But I have no fucking idea what I was talking about, and you will see me get called out on how I'm spouting shit out my ass. I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. So take everything with a grain of salt, and looking back, how embarrassing. And in reality, I've fucked myself over big time, because I've had to spend 5 fucking hours so far editing this shit. And in reality, it'll probably take 15 or something. And then I just, tax can do it. Yeah, I fucked myself there. So, yeah, take everything I'm about to say with a tad bit of a grain of salt.
Or even with the United States?
I think it's certainly a possibility. I mean, you see them talk all the time about, oh, this is 2030. You will own nothing. You will have no privacy, and you will be happy. I don't know if they're National Socialist, but they're certainly fascist in nature, where they want
I
complete
mean,
control.
that doesn't have to do anything with fascism, though. The core premise of that, you could even say that not only is it not fascism, but it's quite the opposite of what fascism promises, or even National Socialism.
Are you about to tell me you're a fascist and you're trying to say that you're not as bad as the World Economic Forum?
In a way,
Well, technically, it's
perhaps
not
yes,
wrong in the sense
maybe
that
no. I won't say it.
authoritarianism is not fascism.
Yeah, okay, I fucked up on that one. Yeah, that was I certainly
Pinochet, for
misworded
example,
that.
was not a fascist that wanted power.
Yeah, I used the wrong word there. Apologies about that. But yeah, World Economic Forum's got some weird shit about it.
I mean, I do agree that they're authoritarian, but in a different way than fascism, or at least in ways you could compare it to fascism.
Yeah,
The what the Economic Forum is, who left?
Yeah,
Thomas,
that was right.
Who?
Yeah.
Thomas, you ever off right? He left. He wasn't saying that much anyway. So
Oh, yeah.
True.
So I'm pretty much a replacement, I guess.
I guess so.
I actually didn't know if I
Wait,
had
so
to
Thomas
change the
was here to say nothing, and then just lifted weights the entire time, and then just disappeared.
Giga Chad.
Yeah, Giga Chad, I'll agree with that.
Joins podcast episode, lifts weights, refuses to elaborate further, leaves.
So far we have on everything. Angry Scotsman gets angry about Scotland, and man lifts weights, says nothing, leaves.
Yeah.
Wait, did you reference the J word?
No,
Oh,
we can't.
We've mentioned it a few times, but Tax is gonna have to censor it all out. Tax, just bleep it out.
So Proxy
literally got
tried
30
to not
Yeah.
refer them.
Yeah, we literally got 30 seconds in, and they
I'm
were
just-
already mentioned.
I'm just saying it ahead of time that if I want to refer to them, I'll just call them elves.
All right, I'm down with you on. I'm down with that.
Well, if it does not pose any problem with YouTube or Spotify,
No, you got away with it.
I
Yeah,
want to
Alex
talk about
Jones.
actual elves.
I mean, Alex Jones got away with it by saying about interdimensional elves. I think we
Interdimensional
all.
elves are a real thing, though.
I think we
Yeah,
all
what if
know
you want to
that
talk about actual interdimensional elves, man?
Yeah, well, do you want to get into that? You want to get into the interdimensional elves then? Not the big nose elves, the interdimensional ones.
I
Yeah,
think
the elders.
I think he meant the elves with a large nose by referring to them with interdimensional elves. I
I
think
don't
that
think he
was the
was.
quote.
I don't think he was.
Maybe, who knows?
No,
Alex,
no, because
Specifically
Alex is
referring
aware,
to the elves and fairies that are mistaken for extraterrestrials, but actually are a terrestrial source from a slightly different dimension of reality, as one possibility that is overlooked by a lot of people that believe in a purely materialistic and like currently dimensional theory of existence, while overlooking a lot of the traditional folklore that it comes from various different cultures that can help explain what could possibly be extraterrestrial phenomena.
I
I was
think
gonna
I
I
think
was gonna say,
they're
though,
just
the
human.
thing with Alex Jones mentioning
Yeah,
elves,
that's
quite a lot of the time when Alex Jones talks about interdimensional elves, he's actually saying they're on our side. The demons are on their side, but when he talks about the elves, he's usually saying he's saying positive things about them, that they're on our side. So if he was talking about the other type of elves, that wouldn't fit your theory in the slightest, because he'd be saying those elves are actually on the side of humanity. So
Talking
he's
about
not.
Alex Jones, everything he says is garbage, man. Like,
I mean,
I
not
would disagree with
exactly.
that strongly, but
By the way, Liquid, could you lower the volume of your microphone a bit because I don't know, it sounds like you're speaking through glass or something.
all right, is that better?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, sorry, it was up on the max. It sounded like that the whole episode.
No, just recently.
All right, okay, that's no problem. I'm literally holding
So
it like
the
a
thing with
microphone, so
Alex
it moved
Jones,
around a lot, so it's probably
we
just
already
holding it.
have quite a bit of content, so we can stop or not.
Or we can just keep going. I'm happy to keep going.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
we can.
me too.
I'm just
I
saying
mean,
Yeah,
that
I just joined.
we already have quite a full episode.
Yeah, all right. Let me try and think of some other good topics then. I've literally got this like list up of stuff I want to talk about. It's pretty big. So, have you guys heard of Greys equals Dolphins?
What the fuck are you on about now?
I
Okay.
think I
No.
know what
Going in-
you're talking about. You mean the instances about Israel training dolphins
No,
for
no,
spying
no,
or
no,
something?
no,
Because
no.
I've heard about that.
Why does it always have to tie
Can I
back
make
to
a
that?
guess before you
That
say
is
it?
true. That is true. But
I
do you
mean,
want?
I'm not even sure it's a conspiracy theory anymore. I think
No,
the
it's not.
concern
No,
is
it's real to
that
train dolphins for spying. But no, I'm talking about something completely different here.
Wait, can I guess something before you say it? Because like I've
Alright,
never
go ahead.
heard this theory, but I think I might know what it is just based off of like extrapolation.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so based off of the look of greys and the look of dolphins, there's probably some theory that the greys that we see are actually an evolutionary branch of dolphins that has come back in time as opposed to traveling over large light years and is a evolutionary, I guess, like sub species or descendant of current dolphins that is coming back to screw with us.
Motherfucker, you have read that theory, haven't you? That's literally what it is. Is that
I'm intelligent and I read a lot of weird theories about extraterrestrials. I haven't read this one, but I
Alright.
also, it's time travel stories are my bread and butter. So
all right? Yeah. So basically, for
Jesse,
everyone else, so you
Jesse,
see
what the fuck are you talking about?
so you know the type of aliens greys, right? The big heads, big eyes, small little
I
gray
believe they're
guys.
demons. I believe
Yeah.
they're demons, honestly.
Okay, so those types of
Uh,
aliens, there is a theory that those are dolphins that have gone back in time, that have like evolved into the greys, and then they have come back in time. How? I do not know. Why? I do not know. I do not believe they are dolphins, but there is multiple theories about what greys are. Another one is that they are actually humans from the future who have evolved to become like that.
Um,
So
wait a
that is
second.
what humanity will become. Do I believe that? No, because I think time travel is fucking stupid. It's not real. However, it's a
Yeah.
paradox, but at the same time, it's an interesting idea. Which is just what I have to say about a lot of conspiracy theories. It's just it's an interesting idea. Is it true? No. It's interesting though.
It would also be optimal to evolve into greys, like evolutionarily speaking.
Yeah, I don't know. Evolution doesn't always like when you evolve. It doesn't always be for the best. It can be
No.
for the worst. So maybe So
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
I mean, depends
so
on
maybe
the
we evolved
standard.
backwards. Maybe we
So
devolved.
I mean, evolution by definition is for an organism to adapt to be most fitting to its surroundings.
Exactly. So, like, say in the future we get like so polluted that we need like to become greys to like even breathe in the intoxicated air and all that.
I wouldn't say it in this way, but in a way, yes, evolution works by basically adapting. And now
Exactly.
that adaptation we might consider it worse, but that's our personal standards as
Exactly.
human beings.
So
By
potentially
nature, by nature is the best outcome, by the laws of nature. But depending on what we basically understand, what our perception is, that might
Well, like
differ as to
the
how we see
birds
it.
that lost the ability to fly. It's the same thing.
Yeah, or
What about
how
the
we see
crabs,
dinosaurs.
bro?
Like that, birds are basically the only living species of dinosaurs left. If we see it in this way, we might think that birds evolving from dinosaurs is not exactly optimal. We might think it's not for the best, but the way the planet adapted and the surroundings, it basically was.
Roxy, I know you came here like a couple minutes ago, but we've already cleared that birds are not fucking real. They're government spies. They're government
Wasn't that just
drones.
the opening of the episode?
literally it was open
Yeah.
for
Yeah, no,
seconds.
we
It was
didn't.
mentioned.
It was not in the recording.
No, it was. It's
Oh.
my recording.
Oh,
It
okay.
was.
When did you start recording? Because this was right after I done the intro. So did you not get the intro in yours?
Oh,
Matt?
maybe I have for now 1 hour and 28 minutes.
I have 28 minutes as well. Yeah.
Okay, so I just forgot.
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, I did the intro and then immediately Homie jumped into birds aren't
Yeah,
real.
yeah. Now I remember. Okay. Yeah, so birds aren't real.
Yep.
I mean, is this
Wait,
supposed
what?
to be
Homie
kind
said
of?
that. I thought I did.
Is
Did you?
this supposed to
I
be
thought it was Homie.
ironic? Is
No, I
this supposed to be an
didn't.
ironic
Homie
relation
joined
of
back
our-
like as
Oh
We
my
all
god!
forgot.
What is wrong with my memory? Yeah, I can remember all this shit. Like I can remember like about how Nick Kroll's family did 9/11
Is
and all
anything
that.
real?
But I can tell you all
No.
about like this stuff. But when it comes to
Alright,
remembering,
that's a good segue.
yeah, well, okay. So do you know who Nick Kroll is?
Not a fucking clue.
Nope.
So he's an actor. He was in that show, the pedophile show, Big Mouth, and he was the fat pig in those shit elimination movie Sing, and his brother and his dad both have connections to 9/11.
Are they? I mean, I forgot the code word.
I'm gonna mute you if you.
what?
Just a very quiet
Why?
and sudden addition of that was fucking golden.
Proxy, please.
You want to know the best part? They are. That's the best part. They actually are.
Every single time.
I literally just looked it up. They're.
I mean,
Okay.
honestly, now I've looked into the early life section of basically half the people alive, so I pretty much have a nose for this shit. I can smell it.
Okay, on a different subject, something said something about everything not being real. What if it's all just a hallucination from the brain?
Descartes kind of wrote about something like that. So he had
Solipsistic philosophical position. I mean, even if it's the case, I mean, what are you going to do about it, right?
skepticism. Yeah. So there. Yeah. So Descartes had his theory of what's it called the evil. Well, he started off as the deceiving God, where he thought that God might be deceiving him about everything that he knows. But then because Descartes is a hack fraud, he decided that no, God could never deceive me. He's all loving. So he then came up with the evil demon hypothesis, where basically there's a possibility that a demon, there's like a demon who's deceiving you about everything in your life. You might just be a brain in a vat, and like nothing is real. One sec.
And the response to that is, how does that matter? Even if
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
true,
It's
I mean,
non-falsifiable.
you will still live your life the same way. It doesn't change anything for you. If we live in a simulation, it's the same thing.
I agree, Alcaeus. Alcaeus?
Alcarius, but it doesn't
Alcaeus.
matter.
Well, I think names are important. I'll try it next time. But yeah, no, I agree with you completely on that one. It's sort of one of those things where ultimately, wait, what? Oh, hi, homie.
Hey.
In the absence of being able to prove it one way or the other, it doesn't really. You can't really. It doesn't really do anything to you, how you would conduct yourself in the universe, other than, I guess, doubting everything.
Yeah.
Being neurotic, possibly.
Yeah, the thing with the simulation theory is that although technically speaking, by the factor of what's it called, by the percentages of how much realistic it is, like I think it was pretty reasonable to assume that we're living in simulation. I personally don't believe in it. I don't believe in it, but the odds are pretty great on this one.
What on like
It is pretty likely in terms of possibilities. However,
is it though?
even if you disagree or agree with it, it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
This isn't the Matrix. You don't escape the reality if you just acknowledge it isn't real. So even
Just
if
things people like to say to just look smart,
yeah, it's more of a shock theory.
Like,
I mean,
what
even
if
if it is,
we live in a simulation and we don't care?
yeah, that
I know a guy who's just like
if it
that.
is true, even if it is true, it doesn't change anything in our life. So it's just something to be depressed about.
Yeah, see, you can't live your life like that, thinking that like nothing's real. It's just not a way to live your life. See,
Yeah, just
not
live your
realistic.
life to the best and just don't worry about it.
Mhm.
Now that Liquid is back, I want to ask you all a question, since this is half the extraterrestrial podcast, which has nothing to do with politics, and thus is hilarious for the political quadrant to be discussing. But there's something I want to ask you all.
Yeah.
Which is, have you ever heard the theory that extraterrestrials are
Yes.
actually fairies?
Oh,
You mean gay people?
No. I mean, for instance,
I'm sorry, Roxy's killing me right now.
I'm gonna have to go with no on that one. But no, the theory, and I love this theory. I'm not gonna push it forward as
International gay space communism.
well, dude, if gay people
I
were
nearly just spat my
actually
water
space
out.
communists, I think that would be an amazing thing. So I'm going to say I wish that were the case, but I'm not going to push for it being the truth.
I nearly spat my water out there. I just took a drink and I just heard gay space communists.
that's
I
a
just
real theory.
Is that no?
Yes.
Oh my god!
I'll have to look it up.
International space gay space communism. Basically, the reason why we need a god emperor, Trump. This is our only way of fighting it.
Okay, but here's the
Okay.
thing: are these
Posadism. It's
are
posadism.
these gay space communists though? Are they lesbians or are they male gay?
Well, I don't know if they are gay in posadism, but basically it's a Trotskyist movement which say that so there are there are aliens that are communists and that want to help us, but to achieve communism we have to restart fresh and destroy our world with atomic bombs.
I was going to mention it. I was going to mention it.
I love how you're saying this with a calm voice, as if you're agreeing with it.
Oh, no, it's
we
stupid.
just have to nuke the world.
That's what they want, literally. To nuke the world.
Homie, you're a bastard. You stole that from me. I was literally going to bring up gay space.
And there are even more crazy things about it.
Save it for Spotify.
Censor.
Motherfucker, you stole it. You stole my bit.
This is why we need a smart Ethnos state.
Okay. Just gonna put something about posadism. Okay, there.
What the fuck? What? What?
Water perf.
Okay.
But not as we do it.
It's kind of depressing how.
What the fuck am I looking at?
He
I don't
lives.
know.
That's a
so
massive hit.
confused.
He looks like Pepe.
Yes, the DNA of the soul.
I lied.
We don't need Pepe the alien.
You know, it's kind of depressing how positivism is basically the least retarded ideology online. Like, I could swear I've seen more artistic shit out there that basically make positivism look normal. Think of like the Nation of Islam. You know, the one about Yaqub?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. And the thing with it is that we basically have like 50,000 people who unironically believe in it.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Posadism just looks like the next faction in Warhammer 40k.
Yeah,
Those look-
basically.
yeah,
In
those
a
look
way.
like some expensive fucking models.
And yeah, I think they believe in things like space dolphins or things like that.
Why does every ideology involve, elves and dolphins? Like basically every conspiracy theory has a way to curve around and include these things. Either of the two.
Yeah.
All right, oh, he's back there. He left for a sec. And there's not going to be much to top the space dolphins.
How did we get here?
We just did. So I actually want to talk about like a genuinely real one for a sec.
Okay.
Wait, you didn't let me talk about
Oh wait,
fairies being
go
aliens.
ahead.
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
Oh yeah, yeah. Come on.
So, you all, well, maybe this is a little bit of a reach, but you all have read a lot about the various occurrences that happen in various reported alien encounters, right?
Yeah.
Kind
Go
of.
on, Crap.
Okay, so for instance, time dilation is a well documented feature of either abduction stories or people that have had like strange encounters of seeing UFOs and then noticing that like time has passed in a way that seemed incongruous with their memory of time passing, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, have you ever read fairy stories dealing with the way that time works different in the fairy world than in like our world?
Yeah, fairies are fucking weird.
Okay. So next question. You're aware that there are a lot of fairy encounters that have to do with, or not fairy, or alien encounters that have to do with strange alien breeding experiments. Like, there's a weird number of
Yeah.
encounters that involve like
my God,
some
what's the-
kind of sexual experimentation.
What's the guy's name? Oh my god. Okay, there's this
Oh,
one.
I remember this fucking dude. Like a group of woodcutters got abducted and they all claimed to be raped by aliens. What the fuck was that story?
No, there's one I'm thinking of. Oh fuck. Okay, I'm going to
There's a lot of them.
give me a sec.
Isn't that just human horniness about everything? As we said before, we would
To be
like
fair, we
fuck
are
aliens
space
if we found
bards.
them.
I mean, I'll be honest
Wait a sec.
here. Out of all these conspiracies we mentioned, I could say I kind of believe in at least not necessarily fairies, but folklore creatures in general. Like I don't, I believe they might exist.
Fuck, let me try to find this.
Okay. Why not?
I'll be honest here. Like
Keep researching it, but I hope you don't mind if I keep like moving with my point here, which is I'm sure you all have also heard about the fairy lore about changelings.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Those little
is
bastards.
children being replaced by strange fairy creatures that are not the child you thought it was. Theoretically, like that you're the child you bore is some kind of strange fey creature that is not purely human. I'm sure you're also aware of crop circles.
Oh fuck's sake. Okay.
No, we're not getting into that part.
No,
Into
no, no,
bullshit.
No, what was it? Okay, I need to. Honestly, I need to check something quickly. You see how so OBS is recording my desktop audio, right?
Yeah.
If I'm listening to music while we've been recording this, is that going to be in the recording?
Oh no.
Probably.
Is it on your desk?
you're
On your
already
computer.
listening.
Yes.
So yes.
Shit. Okay, we're gonna have to
Yeah,
use
you
yours.
could have been recording the window audio, dude.
Fuck. Okay. Well, yeah. There's just gonna be lots of metal in the background.
Of course there is.
Yeah. I mean, I'll
Well, we have 2 recordings, so
yeah. Thank God we have 2 recordings.
if it doesn't make it, I'll send mine.
Yeah. It's probably recorded at all anyway. So actually, one sec. I'll check something. 1 sec. No one say anything yet.
It shouldn't be that hard to remove the sound from the music.
Yeah,
Right?
it's there. It's there.
Well, yeah, it's
Oh,
it's
no.
complicated. It's one sound recording.
Well, I know whose recorder we're not using then, unless everyone wants to hear Glory Hammer in the background.
Should be listening to Sabaton.
I'm not talking
I
about
was
that.
listening to Sabaton at one point, yes.
Good man.
Based.
Yeah, coat of arms. I think as read in your
Yes, that was it. It was Coat of Arms, yeah.
Rise of Evil.
So, I mean, I could literally just link my playlist if you want to see the kind of stuff that I had on in the background.
Why not? But
Uh,
what were we talking about?
Fairy
being
aliens.
aliens.
Fairy aliens.
Yeah,
Fairies
aliens.
being aliens. Yes.
Yeah. So I was talking about how various different phenomena in alien spottings link up with traditional alien or traditional folklore of fairies. One of the other things that's sort of interesting to me is that fairies are famous for being shape changers, and the modern alien quote unquote species that we've seen only really showed up for the first time in like 1951, right? Like I believe the first gray encounter was in the 50s.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Once it entered the popular consciousness, it became widespread, right? And so the theory here is that what people claim to be extraterrestrial encounters are in a way extraterrestrial. They are not of this plane, and it's a resurgence of the Fae taking on these forms in popular culture of Greys, Nordics, and Saurians, as well as various other cryptozoological creatures. I believe like the South America is probably the biggest hotspot for like the weirdest crap they see in terms of cryptids. And that, I mean, like, because this is one of the things about UFOs, right? Is for all of these sightings, we've never spotted, as far as I'm aware, like UFOs coming to Earth. Like, there's a lot of spottings of UFOs on Earth, but like, there's not like satellite footage of a UFO descending to Earth. And so I'm not saying that extraterrestrials are fairies. I'm just saying if fairies do exist, then they're probably the explanation for extraterrestrial
Whatever you're
sightings.
smoking, I want 5.
What did you say, sir?
Whatever you're smoking, I want 5.
It'll help you. It'll help you climb Yggdrasil and see the runes, sir.
You do sound like you're smoking something kind of crazy. Don't worry,
Nothing
so
actually.
do I.
I've just read some really interesting books that I thought had hilarious, interesting theories. And to me, the extraterrestrials are actually all fairies. Like, it sounds really dumb when you first hear it, right? But when you like look through fairy lore, and you're like, okay, well, if these things actually did exist, then they do sort of make sense as an explanation for what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
They actually existed. I'm not saying that fairies existed. I have no evidence of that. But I'm saying if they existed.
I'm pretty
I
sure
think
you're
it's gonna pretty
smoking wall paste or something similar. Asbestos, maybe.
I am high on life, sir.
God damn it! I ran out
That's
of
the
that.
way of saying yes without saying it.
But no. So yeah, just in our conspiracy thing, I just needed to throw out the and this is the funny thing that I gotta say, credit to the show Supernatural. They've got somebody on the writing staff that knows their deep lore, right? If you watch the show, you understand this. Like, sometimes they just do stupid television stuff, but you can tell that there's somebody on the staff that reads all this crap. Because they literally did an episode about alien sightings that is all fairies. Like literal cobbler fairies and crap are behind it. And I'm like sitting there, and I'm like, these guys know. These guys do there's at least one guy there doing his homework who's like sitting there, and they're like, what are we going to do the episode about? And it's like, oh, we should have them go to Roswell, and it's all fairies because fairies are aliens. It's like, this is a pretty deep, like, a lot of occultists don't read this one, right? I had to give them credit for being like, they got one guy who's sitting there like reading all the wigged out crap and writing it into the episode. So thank you, Strange Sir, on the writing team. You've read the books, done your homework.
Yeah.
And by the way, the Roswell, the Go to Roswell See the Fairies episode was hilarious. If you ever watch Supernatural, I recommend it.
Okay.
I'll look into that. Yeah. But though, you genuinely do sound like you've been smoking something crazy.
I'm not saying that this is
It's
what's
the point of the episode.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
And I mean, you're not going to get
Pass it
banned for
around.
this,
Let's see
right?
what new ideas we
No.
can come up with.
We're already getting
Yeah,
banned
if you want-
anyway.
Yeah, if you want crazy stuff on the show that you're not going to get banned for, come to Anderfield. I've got mustache.
Yeah, I've got the crazy stuff, but it's not crazy stuff that'll get you banned.
They come to South Dakota. If they try to ban us, we have religious excuses.
Not here. Not here. We don't.
Not really, yeah. So, anything to add?
Let me get back to. Let me get my list back up. It's a big list. Oh,
Hey, guys, I'm just gonna say something randomly. Do you guys think oxygen is hallucinogenic and the drugs that are illegal show us the real world?
I've not heard that. That's interesting. Actually.
What is a hallucinogen?
Oxygen?
Oxygen.
Huh.
Oh, yeah, I think I've heard about that.
That's fucking interesting, man. I've not heard that. Proxy, look what I just sent you.
I think I have.
Yeah, I've not heard that. That's interesting, actually.
About the fairies.
I mean,
Ooh, I wasn't
carbon-
completely useless. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like there's quite a lot of fears about. I know I'm about to do a Joe Rogan moment, but about DMT and how it's a. Well, I personally believe it's like a higher dimension. What you're seeing is like it's allowing your soul to see a higher dimension and all that. That's just not comprehensible to you right now. So it sounds kind of like that in a way where it's all drugs are actually just letting you see, or at least hallucinogens are letting you see to a higher plane of existence or something like that, because there's something keeping you down in this lower plane.
Well, it does definitely seem like a lot of hallucinogens do help you to artificially achieve some level of like ego death.
It's been quite well documented that DMT actually can. Quite a lot of people who take it are more satisfied with their life as a whole afterwards, and it actually has benefits for your mental health, which is surprising compared to how many other illegal drugs don't have benefits for your mental health. But there's been studies that have shown that. I've not seen any that have said the opposite, but there may be. Just this is what I've read. I have a fun one for you guys though.
Okay.
There's a theory that every single Super Bowl is in fact rigged like professional wrestling.
Oh yeah, it is.
Is it?
Just
I-
Is
flat
it
out.
really a theory though?
I do not. I don't watch American football, so I do not.
It
know.
is. Neither do I.
It would make
he
sense.
means, I think he means so-called soccer, not football, the American kind.
No, I'm talking about American football, not
Oh.
not actual football. I mean,
I
actual
mean,
football. is at the Super
football
Bowl.
is pretty rigged here as well.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty common
100%.
knowledge.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, it is. All sports are rigged. That's why I can enjoy professional wrestling, because they're just upfront that it's rigged, so they're allowed to be fun with it.
Yeah, they themselves are basically admitting that it's all
Watching professional
completely
wrestling is just like going to a play, except you can see a motherfucker get hit over the head with a chair.
Exactly. Yes. It's
Yeah,
professional
they
wrestling
aren't
is the
pretentious
passion
about
of
it.
the art.
They basically
not just a
admit that
show.
they basically admit that it's all a play. In contrast, football is basically they never admit that they're rigging
Oh no,
it.
there's
You can
professional
basically
wrestlers who are like,
lose your entire fortune and just for just how can I say it? You basically waste your money on a batch of guys kicking a ball around the field. That's basically a rigged game for no reason.
And also, Liquid Narrator, you're alright for wrestling. It's said that it's just a show and it's rigged, but it has been hidden for a long time.
oh, it has, but like nowadays,
At the
they're,
origin, it was
yeah.
a secret. Nobody has to,
Oh, yeah.
to
Oh,
know
yeah, well,
that it
that's
was
called
rigged.
that's called kayfabe. So, kayfabe it's been broken a few times, like in the 80s when they were trying to hide it. So, for example, Sergeant Slaughter and oh fuck, who was it? I want to say no, it was Sergeant Slaughter, who was like an American hero kind of guy, and the Iron Sheik, who was like a foreign evil villain. They were caught together with drugs in their car driving to one of their to a WWE event, and that was one of the
Okay.
first cases of kayfabe being broken. Then there was the curtain call, which is a really famous one, where so Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels all worked for the WWE at that time, and were all really good friends. And they had like this group together they called the Clique, And what happened was Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were leaving WWE to go to WCW, and
Mhm.
there was a house show. Like that was their last time wrestling for WWE, and I want to say the match was it was Shawn Michaels and Kevin Nash, or it might be Scott Hall. I can't. It was what two of them were wrestling. They were all like on opposite. They were all rivals with each other in the wrestling storyline. And then after the match ended, the four of them came out. The other two came out, and the four of them hugged in the middle of the ring, completely shattering the idea that they were all rivals. And then that actually gets into a time wrestling actually did become real, where what happened was so after that, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were no longer in the company. They couldn't do anything about them doing that. Shawn Michaels was WWE champion, so you couldn't really punish him because he's your face of your company. So they completely punished Triple H and sent him right down the card. He spent a long time just losing every match. And then he's become one of the most famous wrestlers of all time since
Yeah.
then. But he had a promo in, I want to say 2000, but it was a like Attitude Era anyway, and he just starts ranting about how they kept him back. It's one of my favorite wrestling promos because it's like it's pretty real at that point. It's not like when wrestling's just characters. Like
Yeah.
you can tell he is genuinely pissed about them doing that. And that's where one of his things about being his like nickname the game came from. Was he legit at one point he just says, "I am the fucking game." That's actually what the interview is known as. But yeah, that's what I prefer about wrestling though, just in general, is that like you can do more with it nowadays when they're like pretty clear it's not real. Well, something like American
And
football or
even now, I think no, it's a fact that the WWE is everything is far more planned.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's written in advance. Because
it's so controlled. So there's like
at the beginning
commentators.
there was a big part of improvisation. Whereas at the time of I don't know, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man.
Yeah, Andre the Giant,
Yeah.
all of them. Yeah, that was less controlled. So since then they've had to put a lot of regulation on it because of deaths. So you had Chris Benoit who died. I talked about that in the first episode actually, where he murdered his wife and son and then killed himself. And what was ruled was that it was down to chair shots to the head had caused brain damage to the man and caused him to do what he did. So then there was regulation on chair shots.
Okay.
And then I want to say it was either a year before or it was a year later. Another one of the biggest stars in the company, Eddie Guerrero, died of a drug overdose.
Oh yeah.
Yes, so now they have the wellness policy, and there's just been events more and more like that where it's caused it to become more controlled because it kind of has to be when they're doing all these dangerous stuff. While back in the days of Hulk Hogan, they didn't have people like Jeff Hardy, for example, who were doing all these crazy things like jumping off ladders through tables and shit.
Yeah.
So because it's gotten more extreme over time, they've had to regulate it more. However, WWE does it to an extent that's ridiculous. So, like, commentators aren't allowed to say certain words. There's actually a quite well-known story about Vince McMahon getting fucking furious because the wrestler Braun Strowman said he wanted a title shot instead of a title match. And because he used the wrong words there, Vince got fucking furious. And that's how controlled it is. While so I don't watch WWE, I watch AEW, and they are much more less regulatory with stuff like that, almost to their detriment at times. Like they need a performance center, but
it has
I'm
been
actually
a really long time since the last time I watched the WWE, so I don't really know.
I'd recommend AEW. It's good.
Last time I checked, the WWE, it's when the Undertaker was still good.
Oh god, that was a while ago. He's had not bad matches since. I still like the Undertaker a lot, but that was a while ago.
Needs to go to retirement.
He's retired now. He retired.
Oh, he's retired. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He had there was like a few points where it seemed like he might retire, and then he didn't. He's retired now. He's in the Hall of Fame and everything because he had a last match with AJ Styles. Okay. But I don't watch WWE. AEW is good. Would recommend that. I'm staying up tomorrow.
Maybe I'll watch.
Yeah. I can link you a few matches if you want.
Oh yeah, why not?
But yeah, I'm staying up till 5 in the morning tomorrow to watch their pay-per-view live. Because I know I just enjoy that shit.
Just use Pirates Bay, my man. You can get around anything.
Yeah, but it's live. It's live.
You can also get it.
So it's hard to. I've tried pirating live pay-per-views before.
Probably not the best.
Yeah, it's not easy, so I just pay for it at this point. It's like
Yeah, fair.
yeah, the shows are good, and I can. It's not like because I watch it over here in Britain. They're not pay-per-views per se. They're so you pay. I think it's 20 quid once, and you can watch it as many times as you want on the website. Fight. So I paid for the last 3, I think, and I can just rewatch them as many times as I want. So it's not a bad deal at all, actually, because I do rewatch them because there's matches on them I enjoy. So yeah, like as I was saying though, it's like if wrestling's a sport, that's up for debate. I don't say any sport's really a sport at this point because there's so much control over money. I don't know
Yeah.
enough about the Super Bowl being like that. I know people were
Oh,
talking.
the Super Bowl is just guaranteed.
All right, but like I know last year I think it was Formula One had a controversy about it being maybe rigged in some kind of way. I don't watch Formula One; that shit looks boring. But I just know there was something about them rigging it to make it more dramatic for a storyline. And there's countless examples of sports where it's like this happening to create the storyline is like the chances of this happening are not high, and it happens like this a lot. Like this is just an example of English football, which I'm sure none of you will know much about. I'm not a fan of
No.
football myself that much, but oh god, 5-6 years ago, there was a team in England called Leicester City, and they were like a low team. Like so in our like main league, they were constantly going up and down between leagues. They were that low. They won that year's season. Somehow it was like a bit of a joke at first. We're like, how the fuck are Leicester top? And they were holding it for a while, and it was like, oh, this is just really good luck. And then people started realizing, oh fuck, wait a sec, they're actually going to win it, which was just unbelievable because they were such a low considered team. I'm pretty sure the betting odds for if they won the season was something like if you bet £1, you get like 20,000 back.
Mm.
Holy fuck!
It was something crazy like that because that's how low the odds were on them winning. And they won that year's season. And there are people who made a lot of money because they were like, hey, I'm going to put a fiver on Leicester because I think it's funny. And they just got like £100,000. So like that, it's like the possibility of that happening, not high. So the chances of that being rigged create like this huge dramatic violence. Because I remember when that was happening, like that was a huge thing that Leicester actually might win it. Like that was giant, and they never recreated it as well. Like they're like a mid-tier team at this point. So all the money they got, but like the chances of that happening are not high. So like that being rigged, certainly a possibility. I don't think Scottish football's rigged though, just because Scottish football is boring and the same team wins every year. So there's not much to rig there. Like
I mean, that's the same with Greece, but I do think it's rigged.
yeah, it's just there's nowhere near as much money in Scottish football as there is in like English, so there's not as much of an incentive to rig it. Maybe it's rigged. I don't know. It's just
Maybe.
if you want to rig something to
knows?
make it more dramatic, you wouldn't have the same team win every year.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they're trying to like build it as like this undefeatable team, like a Goldberg kind of situation or something. I don't know, but I don't know enough about this kind of stuff to.
Well, I mean, have you seen the WWE and Brock Lesnar?
Oh yeah. Well,
It's pretty much the same thing. He always win. So
exactly. Well, yeah, that he's just built as a monster. So same thing
And
like
it's
with
rigged.
Goldberg. Yeah, that will obviously, but I mean, at the same time, you can have Brock Lesnar do something like that and have it be believable though, just because of like that man's muscles have muscles.
True.
Like holy fuck, I would not want to fight Brock Lesnar. If you like if there was like a random generator where it was like we're gonna take some random fucking person's name.
wasn't
and
he
you're
a
gonna have to
MMA
fight-
fighter?
Yes, he was UFC.
Okay.
He was a pretty good one if I remember correctly. He was champion at one point. I've seen a few of his fights, and it's fucking crazy how fast he moves for how big he is. Like,
Oh
yeah,
Jesus Christ!
Yes.
That man
like,
is
yeah.
buff.
yeah.
My sister's buffer.
All I'll say is,
I believe you.
look who's on the left.
Who the fuck?
That was such a perfect image, though. You demonstrate how Brock Lesnar is, but you also have the Joe Rogan moment. The chances of that.
Someone turn this into a meme template.
Child.
Yeah,
Yes.
someone turn that image into a meme template now.
But I think we are getting a bit out of subject.
Yeah.
Oh, you think?
I think
No, this is
maybe.
actually an episode about
Maybe.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
And one very angry Scotsman.
the conspiracy theory. He's a wrestler.
The conspiracy theory is he actually did all the wrestling for real. Which is somewhat true, I'm not gonna lie. He did break people's heads open for real while fighting them. Only one I'm aware of off the top of my head. No, I know he broke Randy Orton's head open for real. And I'm pretty sure he did the same to Roman Reigns. They're the two I can say he did. Not going to be. I won't say any other ones. Anyway, I have another thing off my list. I want to talk about, and that is there's a belief that the Roman Empire never actually ended and is still going to this day. So essentially, it's another play on the whole like
Yeah, it's called
globalist.
Turkey.
Yeah, well, no, it's just like it's another play on the globalist control the world thing. But in reality, the idea is that the Roman Empire never fell, and they just shrunk into the shadows to control everything from behind the scenes. And
That sounds like a cope, to be honest.
it does, yes, it does really sound like a cope. There's another one like that. Did I put some? Give me a second. We have to check if this is on my list. Because there's another one
Pretty
about.
sure that the conspiracies you mentioned are just taken out of Wendy Williams' video. Like
Oh yeah.
most of the things you mentioned, they were in his video.
Oh yeah.
So,
This is gonna get taken out of context so bad. Thank God my name isn't attached to any of this. Like, I mean,
No, it's
not
gonna be
that.
fine.
Yeah, not like I could really get cancelled anyway. I already have been, but like, yeah, okay, no. There was another empire that people were trying to claim never fell.
the third one.
I can't remember which one it was. But there was another one like the Roman Empire that people were trying to say, oh, it never fell. It's actually controls stuff from shadows. But
Oh, the Byzantines?
yes, that's it.
Oh yeah.
I've never heard of those.
Oh, I thought you meant the.
The only reason I know a good
Austrian.
deal about the Byzantines is because they employed a lot of fucking Vikings.
I just know about them
the-
from Crusader Kings.
God
I
fucking
mean-
damn it! But the Vangarian guard that you can hire as a Norse king in the DLC for the Vikings, those are just royal guard of the Byzantines that have retired.
Oh right, nice.
Yeah, basically the Byzantines recruited mercenaries from the north and the east. There are tales from basically people of all over the known world that basically served the Byzantines as mercenaries, like the Turks, the Persians, Swedes, Germans, Anglos, basically everyone.
All right.
But the Vangarians were the fucking best.
I think it's
Yeah,
the
they
range.
were basically
like,
considered to
Varangian.
be
I
some
don't-
of the best.
I
Nice.
do not care how to pronounce it. I just say things I want to.
Varangian.
Oh, look at you fucking pronunciation nerd.
Nerd moment.
I mean, depending of how you think about it, the Byzantines, Rome didn't fall on the western part. That is basically Byzantium is Rome.
Yes, it is.
You know, those kind of
De facto and the jure. How do you pronounce it?
I don't know.
De jure.
I couldn't pronounce normal words, let alone any of this shit.
Wait, what?
Anyway, at least officially, Byzantium was still the Roman Empire, since
Yes.
Emperor Constantine was still Emperor of Rome, while he stayed on the east.
Yep. Yep. Honestly, it should be called like the extant Roman Empire instead of the Byzantines. It's sort of like a diss to
Well,
them to not
technically, it
recognize
stopped
what they
being
are.
the Roman Empire because it was the Pope chose the Roman Empire, and it was
Yeah, but the
the
Pope
Holy
didn't have
German.
any authority. The Pope didn't have any authority over the Roman Empire.
Yes, it does. It's the Pope who chose the Roman Empire, the Roman Emperor.
Since when?
I'm gonna have to check that, but it's always
Because the
the
Pope
Pope who
technically was
chosen.
in exile. Because the thing with the Great Schism is that
Yeah.
when it happened, basically the Pope was the one that stayed outside the Byzantine Empire. He stayed outside the borders of Rome, and he basically the sole reason he picked Charlemagne for all of the Roman Emperor was basically besides money and politics, basically to sit on the Byzantine Empire. Because the papacy and the Byzantines have been at a technical war for centuries now. Basically,
Yeah.
both of them exiling Latins and Greeks from each other, calling each other heretics and stuff like that. Europe didn't have any technical authority over the Byzantines to
No,
basically
not
say
over
who
the
is Roman.
Byzantines, but it's why it was not considered the Roman Empire at a certain
It
point.
was historically.
Well, historically,
Uh,
yes, but
we started calling it
technically,
the Byzant. We
it was
listen.
not called the Roman Empire.
It was. The term Byzantine was introduced in the the 16th century, I think.
Well, I'll have to check
The
that. Either way, I'll have
Yeah,
to check
it's
that.
literally
the
referred to as the Eastern
1500s.
Roman Empire
Yeah,
versus the
the
Western Roman
1500s.
Empire. The Western Roman Empire fell, and the Eastern Roman Empire did not.
Yeah.
Other
Yeah,
people
that's
called
true.
it the Byzantines, I guess, because they wanted to claim like Roman Empiredom for themselves. I think it would have been inconvenient for the people calling themselves the Holy Roman Empire to refer to the other people as the actual Roman Empire. So, you know,
Basically.
like,
But if you think about it, the Holy
Give
Roman
me a second.
Empire.
I need to go beat some dogs.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
please
Alright,
pet them.
average
Don't beat
Canadian.
them.
So my point was that
But
the
yeah,
Holy
I
Roman
agree.
Empire didn't call themselves Romans either. That began after the Pope crowned the Emperor, not Charlemagne. I think it was with Otto that the Roman started being called
Maybe I'm
the
not
Holy
sure
Roman
about
Empire.
that. I
Because
don't
that
remember.
before that point it was basically called East Francia. East Francia,
Yeah.
or basically East Francia, Germany, German Empire, Kingdom of the Germans, and other similar names. They basically started officializing the term Holy Roman Empire with the Ottonian dynasty.
Maybe I'm not sure.
Completely lost. I'm not gonna
Before
lie.
that, if you think about it, the term Holy Roman existed as a term in Germany, in the Holy Roman Empire, whatever. It was just tied to the emperor himself, not the empire, because by technicality, the Holy Roman Empire wasn't an empire. It was basically a coalition of states,
Yes.
kingdoms, duchies, principalities, and free cities, each of them having their own representatives, and all of them swore allegiance to the emperor. That emperor, the first emperor was Charlemagne with the Frankish Empire, and he was crowned emperor of the Romans by the Pope. Now, he himself might have been called Emperor of the Romans, but his empire didn't receive the official title Roman Empire or Holy Roman Empire. That started being used with King Otto, I think. King Otto the first, the third, I don't remember. But it wasn't called like that right away. The emperor had the Holy Roman title, but not his empire. Think of how. Let me think of an example. Oh, think for example how the up to the Second World War, every British king had the title Emperor of the Raj, but the British Empire wasn't officially called the British Empire, but the United Kingdom of Great Britain. Officially, it wasn't called the British Empire. However, the British king, despite having no official title as the emperor, had the title Emperor of the Raj, the Indian Raj.
Technically, a lot of it is really about technicality terms, I would say.
Yeah, so technically the Holy Roman Empire wasn't called Red that, at least before, not before Otto. And
Yes.
similarly, the Byzantine Empire was still called the Roman Empire before its fall, and up to the 1500s, I believe. Like even in official contracts with the Holy Roman Empire, they refer to it as Romania.
Yeah, and to the degree that Wikipedia is correct, it even mentions that the term the Byzantine Empire only came about after the fall of the Eastern Roman Empire, and even during Ottoman times, people
Yeah,
of
they
the
basically
original
call
peoples of
themselves Romans.
yeah, and
In Greek,
that
it's
even
Romani, Romni, basically in Greek, and in Turkish they call themselves Rum,
yeah,
Rum or
yeah,
Ram.
exactly, and it they continued to call themselves this even during like Ottoman times, like
Yeah,
after
I
the
could say even
empire.
up to the Second World War, the
Yeah,
40s.
Yes, of course.
I think even Metaxas gave a speech about calling the Greeks Romans, Romie in Greek. The thing is that, yeah, basically even during Byzantium, they basically call themselves Romans, either by direct translation or indirectly. Like the Byzantine Empire itself basically called themselves Basilia Romanon or
Oh, hey,
Romania.
I also signed.
Oh, hey.
So hello.
Hey,
They basically call themselves Basilia Romanon or Romanian, which basically meant kingdom of the Romans or a land of the Romans.
Okay.
Final, is your mic working or?
And
Yeah, hi.
All right.
Hi.
Hello.
so the same terminology passed down even to the Latins, like at the times of the Francocracy or Venetocracy, depending on the situation. You know, after the Fourth Crusade, when the Byzantine Empire was basically dismantled into smaller principalities, the Latin Empire, the Empire of Nicaea, Epirus, and the islands. Those principalities were still called by the Greek names. So the Latin Empire, we call it the Latin Empire to distinguish it from the Byzantine and Roman empires. But the Latin term at the time was basically Imperium Romanian, Imperium Romanenses, right? Let me check for a moment.
Am I the only person here who has no fucking idea what he's talking about?
Your
Oh,
mic
no.
seems to
I
be
kind of.
really blasting, sir.
Oh,
That's
what
Oh
happens
my
when
fucking
Brent died.
eardrums.
Yeah, I'm completely lost.
So am I. I've been here from the start.
Well, technically, we
Yeah,
are
sorry.
completely
There
out
was a
of
long
subjects.
conversation about the Romanness of the Eastern Roman Empire.
Yeah.
I found
I guess the
the
topic
term.
is
So
conspiracy
to
theories.
give you a head start, I'm basically referring to the time after the Fourth Crusade. That's basically when the Crusaders from the Holy Roman Empire, Venice, basically, and France, basically, instead of going to Jerusalem, they basically went to Constantinople and sacked it.
Yes.
And that's because of some debt that the previous Roman Emperor basically owed to the Crusaders because they helped him overthrow the last emperor, and because he didn't pay his debts, they basically sacked the city, as per usual. The average Venetian merchant. So the thing is that after the Fourth Crusade, they basically set up principalities, basically puppet states. One of them, and the largest one, was called the Latin Empire, and its official term was basically Imperium Romaniae, which basically meant Empire of Romania.
Okay.
So even during the Latins, they still use the term Roman for the Byzantines. The term Byzantium basically originates from, I believe, what's his name?
Cool. Back on topic. Shall I?
You're right, the children have arrived.
Oh, Hieronymus Wolff. That's his
We
name.
have
I remember.
2
He
hours
basically wrote a book
and
about the history of the
15
Byzantine
minutes.
Empire.
I've got. Wait, how much do you have?
We have 2 hours and 18 minutes of
All right.
recording.
There's another big one I want to bring up. So
I think we should cut out the parts about the Byzantine Empire, WWE.
no, the WWE stuff is good.
I
But
think that
the
could be a
topic
bonus
is
episode.
conspiracy theories.
The
Well, we can
conspiracy theory
take
is
all this out of subject time out of it
And keep
and
it
just make
no, keep it in. Anyway, so
another
my-
episode.
another one from my bonus. No, what the fuck? I just had a mind fart. Anyway, another one from my list is how much do you guys know about Bohemian Grove?
A lot.
No?
All
Aware
right.
of them.
I remember reading about it like 2 years ago. 3.
All right.
Isn't that with the
Alex
owl
Jones.
statue and
Yeah, that.
Yes. Okay.
I think
So
that Alex Jones found.
for the uninitiated, basically Bohemian Grove is
normies.
yes for the fucking normies. Bohemian Grove is essentially it's like a huge how would I describe it? It's like
Designated area.
designated area, like a
private property.
yeah, like a private club kind of thing that they have in California. That lots
Wait,
of
it's in California.
yes, of course it is.
I didn't know which state it was in, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, of course
now
it's
that I think about it.
Of course it's fucking California. Anyway, lots of rich and powerful people go to Bohemian Grove, and they don't like people getting in and revealing what goes on there. And Alex Jones somehow got into there and has recorded what happened in there. And the recording shows people in like hooded figures in front of what is a statue of the owl god Moloch, burning. If I remember correctly, it was a coffin or something like that you could hear screaming from. Well, it looks like a cult. As I said, there's a video of this.
And I think the coffin is small size, like in the size of a baby or a late teen.
I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen the video. Some people say that there wasn't someone in there, and it was just to recreate the idea of someone being in there, and it was just like like a voice recorder or someone in there. That's a bit of a stretch, but the fact is, there's videos of it. You can see that it's happening, and it's pretty fucking weird. There's also clips of Richard Nixon, of all people, talking about it, where he described it, and as I quote, "the faggiest goddamn thing you'll ever see."
Of course, Nixon said that, of all people.
He did, yeah.
Okay, see, I would believe that if anyone other than Alex Jones snuck in, because have you seen that man? He cannot sneak anywhere.
Well, they're all in hooded cloaks, remember? Alex Jones then went interviewed one of the, if I remember correctly, it was one of Bill Clinton's advisors, I want to say it was, who is known to have, like he's publicly admitted he goes to Bohemian Grove. And Alex Jones, he's interviewing him. It seems like the guy doesn't realize. This is before everyone knew who Alex Jones was. This was like early 2000s. So like the guy just thought Alex Jones was like a normal interviewer, not realizing who the fuck he's talking to. And then Alex Jones starts to ask him about Bohemian Grove, and the guy starts like dodging the questions. And then he just reveals, "Oh yeah, I was there. I recorded it. Would you care to comment about what goes on there?" And the guy gets very, very defensive very quickly and tries to just get out the situation. It's been a while since I've seen it, as I said. And getting the clips of it is hard because YouTube takes them down right away.
You can find them on BitShoot or
can
Telegraph.
Oh, right. I'll look into after this.
And Odyssey. That's also. I personally prefer Odyssey to BitShoot because it's more lenient on its rules.
Yeah, it's a weird one to get a hold of, just because if you look on any like mainstream social media site, like just you won't find it. It's not happening. Mostly because odds are the people who are running these sites go to Bohemian Grove, and it looks a little concerning if they're burning coffins in front of the owl god Moloch. But yeah, that's another one that just like goes into the whole satanic globalist thing, that they're doing stuff like this.
May I add some details about it because I remember more bits about the video and the situation.
Go ahead then, if you have more you can add.
Basically, the Bohemian Grove, as you said, it is a private club.
Yeah.
like it is owned privately by a specific club with some members, and the whole area of the club isn't basically. It's kind of public. You can go there. You can see some buildings, some huts, basically looking like a usual normal camp or a club you could see at a golf site. However, there is a designated area around the woods which is basically inaccessible. It is guarded by private policemen, and if you even try to go near that place, they'll basically arrest you and send you away. So after Alex Jones went there into that specific part of the woods, he basically saw a lot of specific structures. He saw huts with Latin texts, basic skull symbols, the how is that Masonic symbol called in English? The ruler and what's it called?
She has to say it's been a while since I've seen like the whole
The thing
documentary.
that's used to draw circles.
Oh right. Oh fuck. Compass.
The square and compass.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he basically and it was in the camera. It was not just Alex Jones seeing it. He basically went around, saw several signs with English and Latin phrases, skull symbols, the square and compass, J's, owl symbols, and where the statue is and the image that is circulating around the internet is basically the deepest part of that wooded area that's basically surrounded by bridges and roads. So he basically hid behind some bushes and filmed the whole situation. It was like 20 or 50 guys in white hoods. I think it was either white or black. I don't remember correctly. And the one person that I think was the narrator, basically, he went in front of the crowd and basically chanted. Uh, there was one either wooden or stone coffin, as basically hollow in the middle. So think of it like an altar, not exactly a coffin, but more of an altar, with a bunch of wooden metals on top of it.
Okay.
So
So
you know
the
how we
things he
talk
chanted
about
is the thing that he chanted in English, and
Yeah,
the
there's
thing
just
is
so
that
much weird shit about that whole group.
yeah, the thing is he said it was basically let us burn the offering. He basically talked
Yeah,
about
that
it.
rings a bell. That's I remember that.
Let's burn the care, something about caring,
Yeah.
the burning of caring. So I don't remember exactly the words, but the meaning was basically either symbolic or literally, depends on who you ask. That they basically symbolized the burning of care, the burning of consciousness. That there is a, I think all of us can agree that there is one piece of consciousness that basically determines morality. What is morally acceptable for a human being to do? Like say, you see a wallet on the road, for example. There is one piece of your consciousness that basically tells you to turn it back to its owner or the authorities. That's the care in you. That's basically the consciousness. Now, the ritual, either symbolically or not, in the Bohemian Grove was basically that they take this consciousness and basically burn it. Like they have no consciousness anymore, and they can do the stuff they can do without moral consequences in their mindset. That's basically the whole meaning of the chanting. The guy did in front of the statue. And now there was a huge owl statue behind the altar that's basically completely wooden. I mean, made of stone. I think I can post the image in the chat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the owl god
Yeah,
mullet.
we can.
Yeah, and the guy was the narrator who was standing the whole time was basically wearing a papal hat. You can see it in the picture. He
Proxy.
was wearing a
Proxy.
hat that looks like a papal hat.
Proxy.
I think it's
I know.
called.
I know I was there reading that stuff out, but you don't have to keep leaking that I was there.
Yeah, he was basically wearing a mitra. So that's the thing that the whole ritual was basically symbolizing the burning of human consciousness. So that's the suggestion at least, that the participants would now be able to do whatever they would want to do without any moral subjects in the mindset, without carrying the world, you could say colloquially.
Yeah, and the crazy part is like this isn't the only place they'll be doing stuff like this. Like they were doing stuff like this on the Epstein's Island. Like it's not the only place that this stuff happens, and this is just what we know about. So odds are there's loads, probably tons of other fucking weird ass rituals that they do that we just haven't seen anything about.
Yeah, like the thing in Epstein's Island, for example, that specific temple.
Yeah, exactly. This is that's kind of like what when you talk about MK Ultra as an example, with so many files were shredded for that. Like what we know is fucking crazy, and that's just what we know.
Yeah, on the
There's
surface. So imagine, for example, now that I mentioned Epstein, how many more Epsteins there are that we're not aware of. Like if you think about it, everyone that we basically point the finger towards, like say Soros, Epstein, the how are the names again? The
Bill Gates.
no, the banker families.
Oh right, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those two. Those are basically the people we point the finger to whenever whenever there's a problem in the world. However, the thing is that those are the people we see. So imagine how many people there are potentially under that.
Barely anyone sees the Rothschilds though. Like
Yeah, but
barely anyone know about
you're
them.
aware of their affairs though.
Very few
You're
people are
aware.
though. Like you have to like actually look into it to know about the Rothschilds.
Yeah, you can. However, information is blatantly available. You can see it.
It is, but all I'm saying is like they're not like a well-known thing or anything. Like people more or less do have an idea who George Soros is. Same with Epstein or the Rockefellers to an extent, I'd say. But the Rothschilds is just like for how much influence and power they have and money. The fact that barely anyone has ever heard of them is astounding.
Yeah, and there is also another thing that I personally believe. I don't know if it may be cut later in the recording, but I believe there is a connection between these figures. To put it shortly, that they're all Elvis, if you get my meaning.
I get
if
your
you
meaning.
catch my drift.
I catch your drift. I catch your drift, Proxy. I think we can talk about globalist new world orders. Just don't mention the elves. That's the one rule we kind of have to follow.
Yeah, I won't mention it by name. That's why
I
I'm using
feel like we
Kobe's.
should have a spin-off of Liquid and Proxy talking about that on another podcast, because I think that is a bit too spicy for this one.
We could just call.
Yeah, we might just use it in another platform, not YouTube.
Me and Proxy could just start our own show called the podcast.
Please no.
Please, yes.
If you want to get us banned,
This
yes.
is a bad idea.
We could just, we literally could just call the show "The Elders of." There you go.
Oh, that's another book on my list. I haven't bought it yet.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I mean, I'll be honest. I'll be completely honest. That's one of the books I'm aiming to buy sometime, and not yet.
You know, even the Nazis did accept that the Elders is right?
I know, but why not? I should at least read it to see what it says, so I can basically judge it on whether it's true or not.
That's very fair.
I mean, that's basically the same.
You should read it, but don't pay somebody money you don't need to pay to the kind of guy who sells that thing. Like,
I mean, why not?
No,
I basically have that mindset on every political ideology. That's also the reason why, despite not hailing any of these ideologies, for the same reason I want to buy the Communist Manifesto, the
Based.
Fountainhead,
Based.
Atlas Shrugged, and other similar books, or
Yeah.
even Nietzsche.
Yeah, very
I want to buy their books just to read their opinions, to see. At worst, I just know what I can judge. At best, I can further my political opinions.
I agree that reading things you don't agree with is good. I think
And that also includes the other book by the Austrian guy, to say the least.
Yeah, I think you
There's been
should
a
go
bunch
to
of book burnings in my state, apparently.
I'll believe
What the
that.
fuck is
But I
going
was
on?
just going to say, Gutenberg Project is your friend, sir, for books published like over 100 years ago. You can just go download them and read them for free.
Yeah, but I don't like.
What's the name?
Personally, I do not like reading like on my computer or something. I
So
prefer to
if
have
you
a
are
book in my
interested,
hands.
just direct message me that link to the website.
It's
and I
got
can
actually a
review later.
large library of old books, especially if you want to read like old folk
There
tales
is a
and
lot
stuff.
of online library.
What were you
Anyway.
saying about the library, LKS?
There is a lot of online library if you want to check out.
And yeah, if you want to check out like the Marx's works or whatever, you can get all of those for free online legally. As
Yeah.
far as I'm aware, unless Greece has really strange IP laws, like at this point nobody owns the copyright on any of Marx's works as far as I'm aware. You can buy it from somebody, but it would be like buying bottled air. You could just
if I ever make loads and loads of money somehow, I'm just gonna buy all the copyrights to all the things related to Marx, just to take the piss.
Yeah, but you can't because nobody owns them. There's no one to buy them from at this point.
That's why you use bribery.
I bribe my way through the system till I can own Marx.
Dude, that's like only a Sith lib would talk about that kind of thing. That's not the lib way.
No, he's right. Let's feed the off lifts to reasons.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the irony of Che Guevara being on T-shirts.
Yes.
I hate the people who wear those
Or
shirts.
basically Squid Game being basically available on every single platform online.
This is one of
Yeah.
the men who has the most merchandising around him.
You
And
know,
he was
though,
a
there's
communist.
basically one thing now that I mentioned it about Squid Game.
I didn't
I
watch it.
adore the idea that in the has anyone not seen, by the way?
I have not
just,
seen it.
I have not seen it.
Just for the spoilers, not
I do
exactly
not care.
spoilers. That's basically the core premise. I won't mention any more. That is basically spoiler. I'll just say
I
the
understand
premise
the
of the show.
concept of the show. I just don't watch much TV.
Yeah, the concept is basically that there are a bunch of elites hosting a game, which is basically a death game. Everyone fights for their lives, and the winner basically wins money collected from each death in the game. Basically, for every person dying, there are like $1,000 added to the sum. And the
However
final
much
winners share that
yeah.
sum between each other. Or they can decide to kill each other and take all the money for themselves. That's basically the core premise of the game. And the thing is that in the show, it is shown that a cabal of elites basically host the show, a cabal of millionaires, homosexual ones as well. I kid you not, in the show they basically have like some sort of orgy at the end. Not exactly orgy, but
Yeah.
those who watch the show can understand. Like with sex workers. I believe there was one of the guys that disguised himself as a waiter was basically nearly molested by one of the millionaires. So the show notes that there are basically
Did I come back to?
there is basically a small group
Yeah.
of homosexual elites that basically control the society in Korea.
What?
That's a bit concerning for a Netflix show.
Jesse,
You're
what
talking
the
about
fuck
the
are you
Squid
talking
Game,
about?
right?
Game you just walked in.
Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, but
Actually-
the whole thing is that Squid Game is an analogy for the
Capitalism.
military-industrial complex. It's people selling their bodies and getting killed to get money. It's
Yeah.
the military.
Oh wait, that was Priestess speaking. Yeah, no,
I don't think
fanboy.
it's the military per se. I think it's more like not capitalism itself. It's not a communist or anything. It's more like a social criticism or of basically the social structure of Korea, which basically not exactly capitalist. I could say extreme capitalism, like the idea of it's like pushed to the extreme basically, where there are a lot of homeless people, a lot of people forced to the edge by the economic situation that are basically forced to do anything they can to basically stay alive and to keep those people they love alive.
Yeah,
Like
as in
one of the characters in the show basically entered the game so he can save his mother that is dying of a sickness because he can't pay the hospital bill.
yeah, that's what annoys me about when it's more or less just Yanks when they watch like Korean films, when they try to interpret it in American sense, I think it's about America. So like when Parasite came out, holy shit, it's been like 2 years at this point since that came out.
Yeah, they basically said it was a racial analog or something.
Yeah, well, no, there was like Americans trying to argue it was like, oh, it was about American issues in some way, in some ways when it's really about Korean issues, and quite a lot of Bang Joon-ho films in general are about issues in Korea. So you take someone like his film Barking Dogs Never Bite,
Yeah,
which
people
is
usually
about
forget.
the dog eating that's in Korea. Quite a lot of it's it's a matter of a lot of his films deal with Korean issues, while a lot of Americans either you had the guy who had a meltdown because Joker didn't win the Oscar, or they tried to interpret it to be about things to do with America when really it's completely over country. That's something that irritates me a lot, which I know is something stupid to get annoyed about, but it just does a lot.
It's all right. We know you're Scottish, sir.
Yeah. We don't need another rant on my part, but
Yeah, the
What
thing
is it
with
now?
movies
4
is that
rants?
yeah,
that people basically misinterpret them. They basically misunderstand completely how the Korean system works. They don't. Most people that basically see movies like Parasite, Alive, or Squid Games, they basically guess that these series and movies are basically analogs for America, racism, capitalism, or stuff like that. Like they don't have any idea how the Korean system is. It's
yeah.
basically a nation divided in two, and in both parts there is still a highly divided class. People are divided between poor, rich, poor, North Koreans, South Koreans, communists, capitalists. Uh, there is a lot of the ideological and classical divide between these two countries and inside each country itself.
One of my favorite American interpretations of a Korean film is the film Old Boy, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Have any of you seen Old Boy?
No.
Yes.
All
No.
right. If you've seen it, you know what happens at the end, right?
Yep.
Ander? Okay, there are Americans who think that the movie is actually a criticism of slut shaming.
What?
Do you see the issue there, Ander?
Fuck.
That seems like a. I'm just gonna say, despite the fact that I am 100% all in for depravity, that seems like a really stupid take on that movie.
Oh, it is, yeah. Okay, I know everyone
Well,
else has
I'm
no idea
not.
what we're talking about, but go see Old Boy. Very good movie. As I said, it's one of my favorites of all time. Don't watch the American one. The American one's shit. Watch the original
As
Korean.
always,
Yes.
whenever there's an American reboot of another foreign medium,
Oh god,
it is usually a lot shittier. Like,
Oh,
for
yeah.
example, The Grudge,
Netflix. No, it's not Netflix. I can't remember who it is, but
Cowboy
the-
Bebop.
no,
the
no,
Netflix
that
adaptation.
annoyed me as well. But there's one of the American film studios is currently making a live action remake of Akira, and I am not.
Jesus Christ, I don't want to see that.
In production for like
Darn it.
10 years, dude. Like, I don't think it's ever gonna get made.
No, what's his name? Taika Waititi is apparently signed on to do it. Look, they're trying to push it forward now. There's been developments
Dark
in it.
day for all of us, sir.
Yeah, that is a sad day. Those bastards better not do shit to Akira. Especially that's like the worst example I can think of America taking a foreign film, because that film was pretty like one of the main things influences on it was the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki by America, and you can see the imagery of those events throughout the entire film. So it looks really bad when you have
Yeah, it's like
a pretty big atrocity committed by America against Japan. Japan then make a manga and anime about that atrocity, and then America then take it and make it and dumb it down for their own people. Not a good
so.
look.
So that's basically the equivalent of a Turkish company making a film about the Armenian genocide.
Well, basically, yeah.
And on the other hand, imagine a German film of a German reboot of the boy in the striped pajamas. A German reboot.
Yeah, it's just not a good look. And I hope Hunter is right that it doesn't get made, because those bastards better not fucking touch Akira.
Also,
yeah,
which production companies
just
are
want to
involved
say
in it?
we are close to 3 hours of recording.
we should finish before the editor dies of like stress induced.
Or before I start ranting.
He'll
about
have a
Akira.
stroke when he sees the recording time.
It's about the same as last
Let's
week.
end it before the Scotsman goes again.
Yeah.
We don't need any more.
Talking about a live action remake of Akira will get me on that.
Yeah, so I do want to finish this by just letting everybody in the audience and here know that if you watch Akira and you want to watch like a different version of Akira, just read the manga instead, please.
Oh, yes. I own the entire manga. It's great.
It's amazing, and it's like you read the manga and you're like, holy crap! They cut out like 2/3 of the entire story to fit it into a movie. Holy damn! Like
I still love the movie. I still think it's still one of my favorite movies. Just I think
it's like perfect, but
Oh,
the
yeah.
manga is
it's
an
they're two different things in my mind.
yeah.
They have a star in it, and it's pretty similar, but like that middle section is very, very different. But they're both very good. Like Akira's just one of my favorite movies. Have you seen it in a cinema by any chance? Because they re-released it last year, I think it was, in cinemas. And holy fuck, that movie is good in a cinema. Like
Crap, they didn't release it in Japan, I don't think. I'll have to double check.
they re-released the Akira in Scotland in cinemas, but not Japan.
But probably.
not?
I haven't seen much anime in theaters, unfortunately, but
The only one I
that's
think I
fine.
have seen is Akira, and
Yeah, a lot of films are basically a lot different inside the movie theaters.
oh yeah,
Much
yeah,
better experience.
yeah.
Like for example, Morbius. Hashtag Morbius whip.
It's
I
morbid.
pay
haven't
more
seen that
$1 billion
fucking
to
film.
watch it again in the movie theaters. Firecrackers and all.
Have you seen that there's a Twitch channel that was just playing Morbius on repeat?
Wait, what?
There was a Twitch
Have
channel
you
that they
seen the
didn't.
video? Have you
didn't
seen the video about a movie theater in India or Pakistan where the people inside basically threw firecrackers and small rockets when the character said it's morbing time?
That
you
is
gotta
cursed.
Wait, is that actually in the fucking movie? Is that not a meme?
I don't think it is. I don't
Is
think
that
it is.
actually in the fucking movie?
No, it's not, because I've seen everyone saying
Oh.
they're going to greenlight a sequel to Morbius, and they're gonna make him say it's morbid time.
but I am gonna check out you guys. You can keep talking if you want, but it has been fun. And
Yeah,
I'm
actually,
gonna
I also need to leave. But before we end this
I
off,
have to eat, so
Vinyl said before that she had some like CIA conspiracy stuff that she wants to talk about. So I feel like we should end it on a rant about that, since this is the conspiracy episode after all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I may add something else on the CIA.
so
I swear to
Vinyl,
God, if you say the
yeah, don't do that, man. Like
Alright,
if I'm not
alright,
here,
I
nobody's
promise.
gonna tell you.
Look, I won't say it. Alright, I won't say it. I promise.
This is gonna be the hardest editing for Tax yet, because of the amount of stuff he's gonna have to cut. He's gonna have to bleep
Yeah.
out of me and Proxy saying the.
and
It
so
pains me to leave for CIA stuff, especially because obviously the Unabomber's probably MK Ultra participation was probably one of the reasons that he actually had his mental breakdown, and possibly is one of the causes of him going off the rails and eventually becoming who
Be
he
care-
was. Despite the
Be
fact that-
careful what you say. I'm a huge supporter for the Unabomber. Be very
Funny
careful.
we mention it. How about we discuss terrorist attacks and how much they are attached to the CIA?
Oh yeah.
maybe, yeah.
Let's not talk about how
personally
some of the
believe
recent schmutings were done by the feds. Tax said not to talk about that.
And
I
so,
believe that the
to
9/11
finish,
was
if Vinyl have something to say, a conspiracy theory,
basically believe that at least I believe so myself that 9/11 was an inside job. Not necessarily about the TNT inside the building and stuff. That shit is retarded if you ask me, because no one doubts that the plane through it. However, I believe that the CIA knew that the plane
Just
was coming
laughing
and
your
they
ass
just let
off.
it happen.
It's only me laughing. No, it's honestly saying like, oh, yeah, fine, that's a conspiracy for you to share. blank silence, and then just Proxy going, well, I think 9/11 was an inside job. He kept going. He just kept going about it. It was so good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
I'm
even
so-
joking. I believe that there was some novel.
Oh, it was.
behind
It was. It's just how you, just when you said it, the timing was so perfect. I was laughing so hard I'm genuinely sweating. But yeah, it was an inside job.
Yeah, I'm basically the comedic relief of this episode.
Yeah, Tax is genuinely gonna have a heart attack editing this. Does anyone have
Yeah,
anything else
basically.
left they need to add?
The Texas shooter was basically fed.
The only thing I'll say is that this has been a glorious shit show.
This has somehow been the best episode, in my opinion, at least.
I
It
am
was fun.
I
deeply
said that last
saddened.
time.
It was fun.
I'd say
Yeah,
that
I'm
it was
deep.
an exquisite position to say a lot of conspiracy theories, and I believe that it was quite the opportunity to have fun with you guys, my brothers
Yeah,
in Christ.
yeah. I'm
Somehow
deeply
this is,
saddened that. Oh, yeah, go.
this is somehow the only episode where I've actually had notes.
Oh,
Oh,
I
nice.
didn't.
I
Okay.
basically never
Oh, wait,
had
we were
notes
supposed
in
to
the
bring
first
notes?
place. I
No,
basically should start doing that.
no, I
I-
never bring notes. This is the only time I've ever done it, and it's just a big list of conspiracy theories. So I've just got shit like Nazi moon bases, Bush did 9/11, Justin Trudeau is Fidel Castro's son, psychic vampires, the Roman Empire never ended.
Wait, we didn't get to
These
psychic
are basically
vampires, did we?
No, we didn't get to psychic vampires.
Oh, we
That's what,
can
that's
have
what,
episode 2.
yeah, part 2 will be
Yeah,
psychic.
we basically
Part 2.
For
talked
real.
about psychic vampires in a way or another. Morbius was on.
Tupac assassinated for communist politics. Human Manatee Connection. Voice to Skull. Cult of Saturn. I've just got a huge list of all this shit. This is the one
Nice.
time, this is the one time I brought notes.
So
and
it
is-
was fun, and birds aren't
Yeah.
real.
They are not real.
Yeah.
Yep, not real.
Not real.
Really not.
Except for the fairies or extraterrestrials. That one has a possibility. Just
Same with what was the other one?
what one? We did a lot of conspiracies.
There was, Korean
Okay,
War,
there is also
Russia,
consistent
China.
dinosaurs,
Well,
China.
China?
Stalin did Korean War, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
that one
personally
has
support
a scary possibility of being real.
Somehow,
I
yeah.
personally support the theory that Walt Disney is still alive in cryostasis and he's gonna return as a mecha Disney and going to beat up the Senate for being too Elvis.
Did you just talk about Walt Disney being cryogenically frozen?
And Hitler didn't die.
Oh,
It's
that
so
reminds me.
cool.
Fun fact: Walt Disney can legally make a nuclear reactor.
Not anymore.
What?
Mecha Hitler.
See, here's the thing. Walt Disney's going to come back and become president. He's going to be Sol the Snake. I'm calling it. Walt Disney Sol the Snake. Yeah,
He's
he's going
basically
to come back and
House
he's
from
going to be
Fallout.
president. Yeah, he's going to come back and be president. He's got those like fucking Doctor Octopus tentacle arm things, and he's going to have a fucking sword fight with Raiden. That is my prediction for you right now. Walt fucking Disney is Solid the Snake, and only Ander knows what I'm talking about.
I totally know what you're talking about. Because obviously, at that point, all of the rest of us surviving in that world will be the Sons of Liberty.
Yes. Yeah.
I can basically imagine in that scenario where Disney saying to Raiden, making the mother of all uncapistans here, Jack. And they have no time to fret every other senator.
How long do you think it's going to take for Senator Armstrong to become a real thing?
Not long.
Is he not?
I say by 2025.
I
Yeah.
mean,
But
have
we
you
need
seen
to
the
have
secret?
That'll be the
the
next
secret-
That'll be the next Republican candidate.
I'd
Just
vote for him.
Yeah, comes out, just like rips the shirt off. Nanomachine, son.
Or I think it would be, Senator Armstrong. How are you going to
already
fix
halfway
the
there, I
debit,
feel like.
the debt crisis? And he's like, nanomachine, son. It's like, well, that sounds like a good answer.
Yeah. So they'll bring up like the mass shootings or something, and he'll just go, "We're making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't fry over every single egg." It'd be perfect.
Nice argument here, Senator. How about you provide the source?
I made it up.
No, sir, it is a source. I made it the fuck up. And that is, it's a beautiful thing. I use that clip on people all the time.
Yeah, it's a great clip.
It's a great clip.
Yeah, it
But anyway,
really
I am gonna leave Good
Yeah,
luck
and I
with
think we have to
the
stop
remaining
at some
seconds of
point.
the podcast.
All right. Yeah, I think that's done then. I'm gonna
And
stop my.
I'm going to leave with one final note. Loki fucked a horse. It is canon.
It is true.
Yes.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean,
Right, and he not
by
only
the mythological standards, yeah. I mean, it is.
he not only had
And then
sex
proceeded to
with a
birth
horse
Odin's
Also,
horse.
also,
as a mare, he then bore a child from that union that became one of the most famous horses in Norse mythology because it has like freaking 9 legs.
9
I forget how
legs.
many legs.
Eight.
Yeah,
It
sleep
has a
theory.
lot of legs.
Well,
Yeah,
Odin's.
and besides that, if you think about it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Yeah,
Odin,
it adapts
by
that.
mythological, by Nordic mythology, Odin
Oh, by the
didn't
way, Thor's canonically a ginger.
Odin didn't come.
I was actually gonna ask Bradmaker, have you played the most recent God of War game?
No, I have not. I'm too poor and I don't own a PlayStation 4.
I was gonna say
read
you
it.
you will fucking hate it. I played it. I thought it was all right. And see, I've been reading Norse mythology recently. The amount of shit they get wrong is absolutely astounding.
Like the thing about
Maybe it's time
Nordic
to do the
goddess Odin
outro, I
Black.
think.
I
It's,
think
yeah,
that they use a black avatar for one of the Greek, for one of the Nordic goddesses. I forgot her name, Freyla or something. She's
but no,
black in God of War.
the amount of shit they get wrong though is like fucking crazy.
I mean, it's a goddess though. She's mythical at
It's
least.
God of War. It's murder mode. I don't care.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they should
that
have at
is
least
basically God of.
tried. Some of
Yeah,
it's
it's
just like going
basically
out its way to be wrong.
yeah,
So
it's
like,
God of War basically. I see a much larger issue is in historical series like Vikings, for example, which is
Yeah.
still pretty high with historical realism.
yeah, but
And you know what they did in Vikings Valhalla? You know what they did?
yeah, but that's the thing with God of War, right? Though is like they bring in like gods and all that less people would know about, but then they have essentially gone out their way to get it wrong. So an
Yeah,
example would
basically
be
that.
yeah. So an example would be like one of the boss battles is with Magni and Modi, Four Sons. But for some reason they portray Modi as a coward, despite his name literally meaning courage. That's just going out your way to be wrong.
I mean, that's maybe the God
I-
of War isn't
But
exactly
now we
known
are
for
going back
historical
at it
accuracy.
again, and maybe we should stop
Yes,
the
okay.
recording.
All right.
Yeah, we should stop it, but
Alright.
cannot continue
We need
talking
an
about
outro.
God of War.
Yeah, okay. Here's
Is
the
this
outro.
going to be the first episode that has an actual outro?
Okay, here's the outro for you.
Okay.
Just more heavy metal.
No. Marvel, I want to see a Loki fuck a horse.